night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks flicked in the dead of night. They sell fear, cheap package the lies, while the clock keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polish, quiet. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. This is Matchsticks fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand. Buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. World's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my name. Fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
What's up, everybody? Tuesday. Oh, man. Usually Tuesdays are supposed to be sleepy, but not today. I'm not joking when I say I might have one of the biggest shows I've ever had as far as stuff to talk about. It is really, really ramping up out there, folks. So this is the hot summer, 2 weeks before July 4th. Wow. Wowie. That's all I got to say. We have so much to get to, including the massive, I touched on this yesterday, the whole White House messing around with Q posts idea, confirmations, maybe not. And it just kept going yesterday. So we have to break this down. I don't care what you think about Q. It's notable. And that's because it's coming straight from the White House. We got to cover that. We got arrests ramping up like crazy. Even as I speak, the Department of Justice is announcing all sorts of arrests for fraud, billions recovered. That is going on this morning. We have Elon fighting outwardly with Ro Khanna. Is this an operation to expose Ro Khanna and by proxy the Democratic Socialists of America, the rising far left group in America taking over the Democratic Party? We have that going on. We got massive economy news coming in, just momentum for the midterms. And of course, we got Grifter Report because Tucker, Marjorie Taylor Greene, all kinds of interesting stuff going on there. So guys, strap in because we got to talk about that. Oh yeah, did I mention quantum computing? Major steps forward by the Trump administration in quantum that they're pushing through all the major parts of the administration, the executive branch? Yeah. Oh my God, guys. So buckle up, a loaded show today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm going to do my best to get through this in the next few hours. So hope I can join you guys, make your work days a little easier. If you're retired, your regular days a little easier. Whatever it is, I'm here for the long haul today. We're going to get to it. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you guys for supporting this channel. In the chat, as always, all comments, disagreements, welcome, as long as they're done honorably and respectfully. Otherwise, we'll give you the boot. We don't do trolls here. That's why we've built the best community on YouTube, because people are free to not be trolled here. We do it right. All right, let's get into it. Let me say hey to some peeps in the Chizat. The peeps that showed up first get the call outs, and then we will move forward. Let's start on Rumble today. We got Sheath, Pixel Snap, Don Julio, and let's see who else is over there holding it down. Is that it? All right, that's all right. The chat in Rumble is usually not hopping too much, but here on YouTube, it's a hopping. We got Gen X Mag, Armand Oliphant, WAP, Rum Dog, Golden Code, Rafe, Nick Majors, Ramona, what's going on? Jay Tyrus, Dadbod Todd, Kika, Alice Fordham, Cass Sink, Living Positive. I like Living Positive. That's nice. Christina, Vince Felice, Lisa Doxy, Sniped Your Head, Dan the Man Green, Vin Man. What's up, Vin? DJ Fusion, Jim Lorraine, Michael Boyle, Taya Dye, Don Julio, Saved by Grace, Bobby Girl, Tammy Anderson, Adrienne Pantel, K2 for you today, Jalmar, Sean Dugan, Mr. G, Jesus Saves, Toe Cramp. Toe Cramp's going to like this episode. Just Jess, Tammy Anderson, Swamp Fuel, Mark Maddox, MFN, Tango, Eric Swartwell, Little Squire, Wago Waco, AK Downrange, Huckleberry, and so many more. Ray Sandoval, what's going on, guys? Thank you for showing up, all you folks. Beautiful, beautiful folks. So, White Hot Summer, that's right. I see a lot of fire in the chat. DOJ, we got to talk about DOJ and RFK. They're all getting calls out today. We got the Sunshine, 200 Joules, all that stuff. So, yeah, well, man, we got a lot to get to. As always, guys, please tag me for your questions and comments. I will stop in between segments to answer, to give as much attention as I can if I can find it. And then always, if you want to support the channel, you can send a super chat, and those will be guaranteed to be read and answered. That's my promise to you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Freeness and Sunshine, thank you guys for the beautiful sunshine, the beautiful gifts. Thank you for your gifts. You know, I really, really enjoy my mega people. You guys make me feel so loved. Trump Malter. Yeah. Clandestine had a field day yesterday. He did. All right. Well, you guys ready? We are the tippy top. We're in tippy top shape to progress here. All right. What an interesting day we had yesterday. And honestly, it's continuing today, where the Trump team came together and, building up for Trump's quantum executive orders, decided to go online and drop a bunch of QComs starting at the White House. This is the post that started it. White House will be Q posting today, to which they wrote at the very bottom, which you really had to scroll. And by Q, we mean quantum. Stay tuned. Very interesting. The question is, are they just trolling, or is there something here? For those unfamiliar with the entire Q operation or conspiracy, depending on who you ask, this started back in the Trump's first term, and there's a whole lot of misinformation about it. I've done entire members' lives breaking this down, but the truth is that the Q operation really just, a lot of posts came out opening up people to do research and find out more for themselves about deep state operations, politicians, corruption in our society. And that is really what it came down to, along with saying that President Trump was part of the team fighting it. And then the conspiracy became about the whole Q situation, and it expanded upon that and grew and grew and grew. And I'll tell you this, the only people who actually follow the Q posts all understand that it's not what most people say it was. And I've done my research and can confirm it. What we never knew for 100% sure, but there's a lot of information out there, is whether or not it actually was tied to the Trump team. And I'll tell you this, some of the most ardent Trump supporters were a part of this Q stuff. And in that, it doesn't make sense that, to me at least, that the Q or White House team would be trolling these people to make fun of them, as they are the most ardent supporters of and part of the base in many ways. But that's just my experience and for what I've researched. I'll let you guys make your own decisions. All I'm going to do right now is report what's been out there and what's happening. So that happened yesterday, and as Praying Medic, who is one of the deep researchers on Q, said, or as reposted actually, an old Q post from 2018 that said, "You're learning how many coincidences before it becomes mathematically impossible. Wait until you learn who's been talking to you here." Interesting. That is an old Q post. And he writes it to say how many coincidences. Well, thank Praying Medic, because he put together this wonderful thread that helps us see a lot what's going on. Now, I always cover this stuff because I find it fascinating. I find it 100% fascinating. And in my opinion, regardless of where you stand on the whole Q stuff, there's no denying the fact that it has led to many revelations. That's an undeniable fact, including uranium-1. So stuff that most people just never would have seen otherwise. And that's, to me, is an undeniable fact. The other undeniable fact is that this current White House continually, whether either confirms it or trolls these people. It again, that depends on your interpretation. But I'm not going to give you my interpretation. That was for the members live. What we'll do right here is get into it. So we have this. The White House will be Q posting today. That's a little graphic you put together. Now, as Praying Medic's going to take us through all the way through today from the last post. And this is why I think it's fascinating once you get this full story. The last post was in November 2022. This thread contains no new Q posts. Be advised, nearly all links related to Q were blacklisted by the prior Twitter administration. That's interesting, isn't it? For those new, here's an article summarizing it. You guys can go look at that yourself. And as Praying Medic writes here, Q is an open source research operation designed to help ordinary people expose institutional corruption. The media and many Q followers have unfortunately made it out to be something else. At the bottom, Q's goal is to train us to locate bits of open source information, synthesize them into a larger body of work that exposes public corruption. That is actually what I found in my research. But again, you guys make your own decisions on that. Over the years, Q posted countless messages hinting Trump administration's backing the operation. These messages, sometimes called proofs, don't conclusively prove Trump's behind Q. There's always a measure of plausible deniability. And then he shares a video, which we're not going to get into today. Here's an example of a proof. On March 6th, 2018, Q posted about President Trump's plan to deal with social media censorship. The opening phrase was, "Stage set." Also note the appearance of the common Q phrase, "Trust the plan." And here it is. Stage set, Google, Facebook, Twitter are regulated. MSM controlled, use logic, trust the plan. 2 days later, on March 8th, 2018, Trump was explaining the concept of a reciprocal tax. In the middle of his message, he paused, said, "We've really set the stage," while making a Q-shaped gesture with his right hand. And here is the example of.
So they charge us 50, we charge them 50. Right now, they'll charge us 50, we charge them nothing. Doesn't work. So that's called a reciprocal tax or mirror tax, and we're going to be doing a lot of that. It's the first year, we've really set the stage. A lot of it had to do with structurally, we had to go through certain procedures in order to get to this point. So
later, look at Trump from another angle. Here was the discussion about setting the stage or intentional. Again, he says there's always a level of plausible deniability. But this is what they say was the Q signal. Again, it's up to your interpretation. Anon's on the board. This is what they meant. Now, let's move to today. All right. That was just an example of how people read this stuff. Today, let's go back to January. Notice in January is when things really ramped up. That's when we got Venezuela. That's when we got the operations overseas, the attacks against cartels, later the Iran war, the ramping up of deportations. That has all happened this year, which I've been contending on my show has been the real push to extricate City of London's influence, which is the cabal, the deep state, extricate them and weaken them in many aspects. And I've covered that extensively. And that is something that I stand by, that there is this City of London globalist cabal that is behind all this stuff, that is the deep state. I don't think that's arguable at this point because of the evidence I've shown and others have done excellent jobs on. Regardless, we're talking about this Q stuff right now. So on January 4th, government agencies posted memes containing well-known Q phrases. U.S. Department of Labor on January 4th, patriots are in control. Here's the original post from 2019 saying patriots are in control from Q. 4 days later, Department of Labor posted this, January 8th, trust the plan, trust Trump. Interesting. Back from 2018, Q post trust the plan, full control. Praying Medic says, some argue patriots are not in full control. They have no reason to trust in a plan. I'm not arguing these claims are true. The truth or falsity is yet to be determined. Then, a few days later, Department of Labor, hold the line. Here's the original Q post, 2020, hold the line. Justice is coming. He says, what I'm arguing is the people in the Trump administration knowingly associating themselves with Q's posts. More from Department of Labor. Here's January 12th. Patriots in control. Let's get to work. Interesting. May 2026, Department of War's Chief Technology Officer started posting Q phrases. Patriots are in control. Locked in. He says Patriots control right here. Locked in Trump. June 1st. Good morning. Trust the plan. Locked in. And that brings us to yesterday and today, as you'll see. White House will be Q posting. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you see the reference to quantum, and President Trump signed the quantum, and it comes to this. Here's the website that was launched, which we're going to talk about this as well, the quantum computing, what that means, and what's very interesting about that. But the posts continue and say, so Medic says, today the pending changes in how the administration will address quantum technology provides plausible reason to post Q-related memes, and they're taking advantage. Here's the White House, always trust. And they took an actual Q post, changed the date on it, and added this at the end. America will be the world's leader in quantum technologies, make America great again. 47 for Trump. Interesting. The above post by the White House contains a mock-up of a Q post with the same formatting used by one of the Q aggregator websites. Here's right here. Q&A in time. Note that the above post, which is second to last and non-asked if Q would have time for a question and answer, said that there would be Q&A another in time. I don't know where the Q will post on the board again. I suspect my return if Spygate conspirators are indicted. There are still placeholders on Q's private board that need to be filled out. And here's the blank placeholders. The Department of War continued posting like this. Are you enjoying the show? As a constant phrase. Enjoy the show. Refill your popcorn. You'll love this next part. And it's quantum dominance. Another one from the Department of War CTO. Department of War is ensuring our war fighters have frontier quantum capabilities to dominate in degraded or denied environments. Trust the plan. This is all yesterday. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? What's the purpose? Part of the purpose is to boost morale among Americans, blunt the effect of panicking, trying to sow fear and distrust. That's what I do. I do that without the Q post, but I do believe he's right in some point of this, because it doesn't make sense to troll. It doesn't, because you'd be trolling your greatest supporters, or at least a large swath of your greatest supporters. Why would you do that? That would be dispiriting. That would be discouraging. So I don't believe that's it. Is it just to encourage, or is it to qualify them? Is it to validate them? I can't speak to that. But I can tell you that in my belief, it's one or the other. It's either these are purely to encourage the people waiting, whether the Q operation is real or not, or it is to validate it, which is also encouraging, which would have the double effect. But to me, there's no other answer, because the trolling does not make sense at all. And he says another purpose is to troll members of the press who loathe President Trump almost as much as they despise Q. And that's possible too. As the Q people would say, we are the news now. He put a video together of it. But this is the really interesting part here after all that other stuff. We had Bobby Levy here posted activation word Ronald McDonald while reposting the White House's Q post. Let me take us back to November 4th, 2024, when Elon Musk posted this video, and look what happens at the 37-second mark.
Put on notice if you fuck job.
I can't play the music or I'll get copyrighted. But here's at the 37-second mark. Listen very closely.
Belongs to patriots. The activation word, Ronald McDonald.
Did you hear it? Let's go back. This, remember, is the day before the 2024 election by Elon.
Ronald McDonald.
Activation word, Ronald McDonald.
The activation word, Ronald McDonald.
Elon Musk, November 4th, 2024. Yesterday, activation word, Ronald McDonald. That's very interesting. Now, is it just for fun? Bobby Levy here is White House Deputy War Room Director. Not like he's a nobody. So, pretty interesting stuff. Whether you, like I said, whether you agree with it or not, whether you believe this stuff or not, you cannot deny something very interesting is happening right now. Now, again, this continued this morning as the Department of War again writes, where we go one, we go quantum, where the old saying is where we go one, we go all. It's very, very obvious they're continuing to validate or use the Q stuff in one way or another. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting. Now, MJ Truth Ultra put this together, says Q would often hint and ons to use military time for proofs. White House posted at 2:25, which is 14:25 military time. Here you can see 2:25. And then he brings out post 1425, which says, given we have now undeniably verified ourselves to be an inside source, expect the MSM to attack in full cooperation with foreign and domestic assets. Be prepared, trust the plan, conspiracy no more, we're in full control. Very interesting, isn't it? Again, you guys determine what you think. All I'm doing is showing you the actual facts and how interesting this stuff is, that you at least at the very least you can't ignore it. You just can't. You have to notice that it's out there because the White House is doing this. You guys determine on your own what you think about that. I'm not going to tell you which way to think. All I'm saying is you cannot ignore it. Brian Cates, who posted this, watching the White House hit exact timestamp from a Q team drop that says we have now undeniably on purpose declared ourselves to be inside source. The old famous McConaughey meme. Now, it gets in even more interesting as Melania Trump, 14 years ago to the day, posted, storm is on the way. That's interesting. 4 years before Trump was elected president, before they were even candidates, really? And then 14 years to the day, all these new posts start coming. Trump decides to sign his quantum executive orders. 14 years to the day? Are you serious? Wild. Absolutely wild. Oh, and then today is the 5-year anniversary of John McAfee posting a Q thingy following his suicide. Here is from Instagram, John McAfee. Many of you guys will recognize him. 5 years ago to the day. Wild stuff, isn't it? Again, you guys make your own decisions on this. Now, yesterday, Trump, while signing his executive order, forgive my dogs in the background, had this to say about his uncle, who, by the way, John Trump, his uncle, was an MIT professor entrusted with many of Tesla's secrets. This is what Trump had to say about that yesterday.
Did you know of my uncle at all?
No.
You didn't?
No. Sorry.
Oh. Mr. Goodman.
Did you know my uncle at all? He just specifically brought that up. Interesting. Why? So the National Quantum Initiative, which this is going to be a massive deal. See, quantum technology, we'll talk about in a moment for those who don't know, is going to be a massive leap forward in computing. And many believe it can do many other things. But regardless, it's going to be a leap forward in technology, which will also mean AI and other capabilities. I am actually much more positive about this stuff, and we'll talk about that another time when I deep dive it. But regardless of what you think, your fears, your hopes about technology, it represents a massive leap. And the Trump administration is now putting all of these agencies, demanding they all push towards this quantum computing, which will make us light years ahead of the competition, of which we already are. Now, the Trump administration posted ushering in the next frontier of quantum innovation. Here is the executive order, Cues for Quantum. Under President Trump's leadership, quantum's making a massive leap. America's at the forefront of these innovations and groundbreaking technologies. What many speculate is whether or not this is new, or if this is really bringing to the front something they've already had. That's something we might find out soon. But just to break down what it is, so quantum computing uses the principles of quantum mechanics to perform calculations far more efficiently than classical computers. Classical ones process in bits. Quantum computers use qubits, which can exist in a state of superposition, both 0 and 1 at the same time until measured. They can be entangled, meaning the state of one is instantly correlated with another no matter the distance. In other words, instead of having to process one at a time, it can kind of process all at once. Wild. Shor's algorithm can factor large numbers exponentially faster, threatening current public key cryptography. Quantum simulation excels at modeling molecules and materials. It offers potential speedups in optimization, machine learning, and search problems. Here's a caveat. These are not faster at everything. They excel at specific hard problems and currently suffer from noise and errors. The long-term goal is fault-tolerant quantum computers with error-corrected logical qubits, so they self-correct. Here's what the executive order does. Ushering in the next frontier of quantum innovation. This is the main innovation ecosystem building order, establishes a whole-of-government approach to develop practical quantum technologies, update the National Quantum Strategy, building on the National Quantum Initiative Act, and drive commercialization. Notice the date of the Quantum Initiative Act. That is when the Q stuff was in its full bore, and it basically just started. Key elements, QCADDS effort. National push coordinated across agencies to develop and deliver quantum computer powerful enough for transformative scientific discovery. Target is a system capable of important scientific calculations with ambitions tied to 2028 timelines for meaningful capability. Quantum sensors and networks, domestic supply chains and manufacturing, workforce development, security and protection, international engagement. And then securing the nation against cryptographic attacks. So, these deliver all kinds of things, deliver practical quantum capability, build the ecosystem, protect against threats, maintain our strategic advantage, and drive economic, scientific impact. Again, you guys can decide what you think about where this will lead. The only thing we know for sure is that it's very meaningful. Now, there are people, who believe that quantum's been around a long time. And in fact, the government has been using this technology to calculate possible futures. This is Project Looking Glass is famously known for this. And what I want to share here is a clip from somebody who claims to have been in Project Looking Glass. But first of all, it says, why did they turn quantum into a sci-fi buzzword and new age woo to make real breakthroughs sound impossible or fake? We've known for a very long time, since the 90s, Project Looking Glass already showed elites timelines they tried to force, and everyone ended the same. Mass awakening, veil lifting, God winning, language was the distraction. Here is a clip of a man who said he was beholden to Project Looking Glass and watched this quantum computing effort of predicting the future and what the elites or the deep state were trying to figure out and get ahead of. I'm not saying this is 100% true. I don't know. There's very little to back this up. There's very little to verify it. It's a fascinating interview. I've seen it years ago. It's much longer than the clip I'm about to play. But I do want to share something with you because I have been very positive on this channel. I believe we're heading in the right direction. I believe God is actually coordinating things for our betterment. I believe all that without this clip. I believe all that without the Q stuff. I believe that because my faith dictates I am hopeful, and I believe that good will continue to grow in the world as God uses his people. What I'll tell you is that the reason I find this stuff interesting is because it aligns with the worldview I already had, not because I just went on this deep dive and believe it all. So that's not why I'm sharing it. What I am sharing, though, is because of what happened yesterday with the quantum executive orders and all the Q posting. What I want to do is just show you guys what's out there, show you guys what many of this environment are thinking and what it ties to, and then you guys can draw your own conclusions. So here is a 2-minute clip that I found fascinating from this old interview.
Happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the looking glass inherently ended up in the same future. And no decision, no possibility changed past a certain point. That's the big secret.
Okay, so is that certain 2012 in your understanding?
It well coincides with December 21st, 2012.
So at that point, all possibilities lead to the same
Timelines.
Rubicon.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future.
And what is that history to you? Did you know that, or did you find that out?
That is the big question. That is the big secret. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game. And nothing could be manipulated beyond that point.
So do you think that's held true? In other words, well, I have about 60 questions, but do you think that's true or holding true, that nothing could be manipulated, that they haven't found a way to manipulate, that's still the case? I mean, this is knowledge that you would have gained back when?
Back when I was in the military, it would have been before '97 when I got in trouble. And it was...
Okay, so very interestingly from Bill Woods, he says that according to Project Looking Glass, which was quantum computing, projecting all timelines with all the information they gathered. Again, I don't know if this is real. I don't know. There's no way to know if this guy's telling the truth or not. We don't have the verification. We don't have enough evidence to know it's proof for sure. But here's what I'll tell you, and this is what I think is fascinating. He mentioned that after 2012, the elites saw that everything trended in a different direction and they couldn't win. Let's talk about that for 1 second here. 2012, what's interesting about 2012? Well, that was the end of the Mayan calendar. Interesting. The Mayan calendar ended in 2012. Do you guys remember all the apocalyptic talk about 2012 because of that? Well, I would contend that that wasn't the end of the world, obviously. That was the end of an age. And and who knows what all that means. But what's very interesting is 2012 was an election year. That was the year Barack Obama won his second term in office. He did not win nearly by as much as the first term. And in his second term, he faced much more pushback from the people. The awakening had started. People were pushing back against the deep state control of our country. That was a shift. Even though he won that election, Democrats, the far left, the elites have been losing almost ever since then. including the 2014 midterms, which Republicans won. And not that all Republicans are good, but it was led by a Tea Party movement, which was massive. Then you get, also in 2012, it coincides completely with a book of sociology called The Fourth Turning, which looks at the trend of history, especially tied to American history, that every 80 or so years, we face a fourth turning. And every cycle is about 20 years. A fourth turning would be the downfall of the current society, the way of doing things, into a time of crisis in which a hero emerges and the people have an awakening and things start changing. Previous times of a fourth turning were World War II, the Civil War, and the Revolutionary War. They all add up on that 80-year timeline. How fascinating is that? That would bring us to the 2012 to 2025 range, which we're just now exiting. Or maybe we're still in it. It's not precise science down to the year, but it does factor in those 80-year-ish segments. But that also would have begun around 2012. Fascinating stuff. The timeline makes a lot of sense. And again, I look at this from my own perspective, which is always hopeful, always believes. I believe in what President Trump's doing. I believe that the deep state is losing, that they're peeling back. And so this is why I find this fascinating, I should say, because this is just another thing that says, yes, this is another piece of evidence adding to what I already am seeing, not the opposite. I didn't change my mind because of this video. It just made me say, wow, that's interesting. I already believe that. And so as far as what you guys want to believe, that's on you. But I will say the timing is fascinating. We are now in 2026. It is the 250th year of our nation. Is it coincidence that we also got the World Cup and many nations are coming here? Is it coincidence it's a midterm year? Is it coincidence that Trump just completely upended the deep state control in foreign nations, especially Venezuela and Iran, but it's spreading? Is it coincidence that the awakening's happening about how Europe has been taking advantage of us through NATO and other aspects? Is any of that coincidence? I don't believe so. I do believe there's a divine factor behind all of this. I don't believe it's coincidence that at the beginning of the year we had the Winter Olympics and America won the gold medal in hockey. First time since the Miracle on Ice in 1980 against the Russians, against another massive number one seed in Canada that was well favored over us. We beat them, got gold. Is it coincidence that the World Cup team right now is our best World Cup team America's had since 1930? We already won our first two games overwhelmingly. We sealed our division. Now, am I saying we're going to win the World Cup? Probably not. That is but regardless, the World Cup is here and we have our best team in nearly 100 years. This is fascinating stuff. I watch how all this is coming together. I watch how the Trump team on Flag Day, a week ago Sunday, had the UFC 250 event and signed the MOU of peace at the same time. Timing matters. And I don't think the Trump team coordinates every little bit of time. I think they do what they can. But do I think there's a divine force in all this kind of speaking to us? I do. I really do. And I believe that is what is ultimately headed to, as Wood says here, as the fourth turning says, as even the Mayan calendar showed, that we've entered a new age and we're at the beginning of something, not the end. And I do believe it's only going to get better from here, regardless of what you think about Project Looking Glass, regardless what you think about Q-Posts. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm just trying to say, pay attention. Pay attention, because all this means something. What it means ultimately is up to you, because we won't know until time passes by. But the White House doing all of this yesterday and today, while also passing the quantum stuff, which ties to Project Looking Glass and all that, that's something that I think everybody should pay attention to, because it's wild. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, it's just more evidence that we're trending in a wildly amazing direction, and the future is going to be very, very bright heading from here. All right, guys, if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe. I don't have much else to get into the Q stuff today, but we have a whole lot of other news that I'm going to tell you right now is confirmation that we're heading in the right direction, because man, we are winning so hard right now, and it's only going to keep winning despite what the mainstream media and losers all want you to think. But first, let me catch up in the chat. I want to make sure I don't ignore anybody who reached out to me. Kevin with another $100 super chat. Kevin, man, you are humbling me incredibly this week, man. Man, thank you so much again. I'm wrecked by you, brother. He says, 1,000 tithes paid. I'm a truck driver, can't attend church, so I pick a charity or organization I like to see succeed and give. Love, Ace, a worthy cause. Thank you, Kevin. That means a lot to me, brother. I really, really appreciate that. And, you know, just for everybody who doesn't know, I am supported fully and completely by you guys and members and super chats, donations. This channel is independent. And other than when you watch that first ad coming into the live and I get a fraction, pennies on the dollar from YouTube for that. Other than that, it is all driven by viewers here. So thank you for that. Got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. So make sure you stay tuned because so much more to get to. Sniped Your Head says, love the Q stuff. No wonder they had to demonize it, make it a social sin to entertain any of it. I will tell you that whether you believe the Q stuff's interesting or realistic or not, you cannot deny that all of it was censored like crazy. All the Q channels on YouTube were completely cut off and censored and taken down, and all the Q accounts on X were taken down as well. And as I reported in because of Praying Medic, that even his old Q posts that he links to on X you cannot access because they're just gone forever. Rose says, check Lamberto Ramandini's work. He quotes City of London. He retrieved a lot of declassified documents from Kew Gardens, indicates where the heads live and more. Interesting. I would be interested to see what he's saying there. K2 for you with the $10 super chat says, Ace, has anyone thought about what would happen if the USA won the World Cup? Prodigy on the pitch, a phenom similar to Miracle on Ice. What will happen to football? I have thought about this. If the US pulls off the miracle of winning the World Cup, it will rock the entire world. See, we're not supposed to be good at soccer. And yes, it's soccer. It's not football. I'm sorry, foreigners. Real football is played here in America. We play soccer because we're right and you're wrong. We're America. But the point is I do believe if we win the World Cup, the rest of the world should have to call it soccer from now on. Just going to throw that out there. And, but no, it would be the largest upset in American history in sports, because even in 1980, you know, we weren't bad at hockey. We just weren't as good as a lot of these other wintry, countries, but we were still not terrible. Whereas in soccer, we're expected to be bad forever. Desert Babe, welcome to the membership here on YouTube. Thank you for your support, and you will be, you now have access to all the members' lives. Okay, let me see. Let me check real quick. Anybody else who, DJ Fusion says, if I'm a Q believer, put stock into Trump carrying the will of Nikola Tesla theory. Too many connections to Tesla, share the same enemy, JP Morgan involved with Epstein. Yeah, there's interesting stuff there for sure. And Trump, again, brought up his uncle, who is the one tied to Tesla, just yesterday with the quantum signing. So fascinating stuff going on. Absolutely fascinating stuff. But we'll watch. We'll keep watching. I'll keep reporting. And again, we have all kinds of good stuff coming. Carnivore King says Trump will rename the Pacific Ocean the Gulf of American Soccer. That would be hilarious. Trump is only the existing blueprints of time machine gave to a White House to build a time machine. That's your theory. Interesting. I don't believe in time travel. I don't believe it's possible, but it is interesting, and I'd be fascinated to see if I'm proven wrong someday. Okay. You guys ready? We got so much to get to. for everybody who doesn't think justice is coming, arrests are coming, you guys are going to love this next section. But real quick, Eric asks, I'm sorry, what if Q is actually a quantum computer? Anything's possible. Anything's possible. So I don't know. I try not to speculate too much on that stuff. I think I'd rather just show what's out there, and people can make their own conclusions from that. So, guys, Bill Pulte came in last week, and he's already begun firing folks. Here's CNN in a panic section, wondering why Bill Pulte is crashing the intelligence networks down.
Trump's controversial pick as acting director of national intelligence, Bill Pulte, has been slashing jobs. One source tells CNN, quote, the deep state firings have begun, end quote. That source did not elaborate on what exactly they mean by deep state. Pulte has no known background in intelligence or national security, but he is temporarily leading the...
Do you hear that? The deep state firings have begun. And of course, hilariously, the CNN anchor has to say, no one really knows what the deep state is. That's weird. And then they have to go on and bash Pulte for not having experience because they're terrified of this dude. They're absolutely terrified. But he's already in there cutting staff like crazy. This is what we've wanted.
Office of the DNI, which oversees 18 intelligence agencies. Democrats are voicing alarm over his large-scale cuts in the intelligence community.
Bill Pulte is somebody who has zero experience when it comes to national security and intelligence.
By the way, this is the man who flew to, what was it? It just escaped my brain. I'm sorry. El Salvador, to meet with the illegal immigrant who'd been flown out there and have margaritas with him to get him back. This is that guy. So deep state, you wonder, yeah, this is the kind of people who are scared of Bill Pulte.
This matters. His sort of defining mission in the Trump administration has been as a political hitman for Donald Trump to go after his political adversaries. And now this is the guy who's going to be firing people with experience and expertise when it comes to our national security intelligence matters.
Yep.
So what could go wrong?
CNN's Kevin Liptak joins us now live from the White House. Kevin, what more are we learning about these firings and how they're determining, quote unquote, deep state employees that they say that they're firing?
Yeah, not a lot of clarity about what exactly that will mean, but I do think it gives you a good indication of the individuals that Bill Pulte is going after. People he perceives and that President Trump perceives are trying to undermine his administration, and it does seem evident that Pulte is wasting virtually zero time in trying to execute.
Do you hear that? Wasting zero time. My God, this is music to my ears. I love what they're doing right now. Look at this. Offices ordered to rank personnel ahead of firings. National Counterintelligence Security Center expected to be hit hard. Oh, interesting. Why would they knock out the Counterintelligence and Security Center? You would think we'd want those people here defending the homeland, paying attention to possible sleeper cells. Unless they're in on it, unless it's happening on their watch, unless they're allowing these things to happen. Interesting. And it says, Democrats warn large cuts put national security at risk. Of course they do, because they care so much about us and our national security. Those Democrats, they are freaking out.
This mission that is obviously President Trump's objective here. You know, the president has said explicitly that he wants Pulte to downsize this agency. Our sources have told us that Pulte could be going after those working at the National Counterterrorism Center. That, I think, is going to raise a lot of alarms, not only because of the current geopolitical situation with Iran, but also these events that you have underway in the United States over the next few weeks. The World Cup, the 250th birthday celebrations, all potential targets for terrorism that this agency and this unit.
Do you hear how they're trying to terrify us? Isn't it interesting that Trump picked this time to make this happen with the World Cup going on, which is a major domestic event from people pouring in from all over the world? Trump picks this time to make these cuts. Everything with them, remember, is theater. Okay, Trump does everything for optics and timing on purpose. It's no coincidence that Pulte's in there right now doing this, because get them all up in a tizzy. That's I guarantee you that's a big part of this. They are terrified of this man and what he's accomplishing. But CNN, of course, is going to spin the fear narrative. Oh, they're cutting it back when we need it the most. Again, always trying to make the Trump administration look like a bunch of idiots who hate America, when deep down it's really them. But this is causing us all to pay attention, isn't it? That's the other thing. The timing right now of Pulte doing all this means more people are watching. Oh, yeah. And FISA's suspended right now because it hasn't been re-upped yet, thanks to Trump putting Pulte in and rug pulling them all on his other nominee. Here's Trump with a little bit of what he had to say about Pulte right now.
Pulte as the acting director of national intelligence. There's been a little bit of a pushback from some Senate Republicans. Why do you think, Mr. President, he's the best person for the job?
Well, he's very smart. He's a person who's got high integrity. He's done a phenomenal job at Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. You probably have $1 trillion in value there. When he took over, it was much less. And I guess I'm responsible for that too, because everybody wanted me to sell it in my first term for 10% of what it's worth right now. If I would have sold it, we would have lost $900 billion. We would have lost, think of it, it's probably worth $1 trillion. And I was offered, people want me to sell it at $100 billion, a very small percentage of what it's worth now. So, and he built it up a lot, did a great job. And it's an acting position. It's not a permanent. He's not going to be permanent because, I don't think he'd want to be permanent. But he's a very smart guy, and he may find out some things about the rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera.
What? Did you hear what he just said? We just got a clue into Pulte's other part of the mission. We might find out some things about rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera. Pulte's not just going there to fire folks, friends. He's there to unleash the hounds on all the secrets. Get out. Maybe not all the secrets. I don't want to paint a picture that's, people come back later and say, you said he'd release everything. No, I'm not predicting that. But it is pretty clear that Trump wants this election stuff out. Tulsi didn't get it out in time. And maybe that was for a reason. Maybe he was protecting Tulsi from the Senate hearings and whatever else she might go through. Pulte, meanwhile, is the bulldog. He is to come in temporarily, wreck shop. Makes a lot of sense, honestly, when you're dealing with these people. You have to outmaneuver them, and you have to hit them hard and keep them off guard. And that's exactly what Pulte's doing.
I think he'd like to do it. I think he wants to do it very much. Got a lot of energy. But he'll be very good. Again, it's not a permanent position. Right. We're interviewing people right now, but it's somebody just to take it over for a little while.
Does he have the necessary, in your view, Mr. President, the necessary national security experience to take on that position?
Well, I do, and I think he does, actually, because he's smart. Because a lot of national security, I wasn't greatly experienced in national security, and I think I've done a really great job with it. A lot of people would say that. I've ended 8 wars, and soon to be a 9th. I hope that works out too. Frankly,
What's Trump just basically say? Anybody can do these things if you're smart. And it's kind of funny because everybody's freaking out over the whole the whole inexperienced part. But so all this is going on. Pulte, the firing's going on. People are freaking out. Deep state is getting cut back. And meanwhile, justice is ramping up. This morning, Scott Brady, or actually this was last night, Scott Brady posts, "Good night, fraudsters. Tomorrow's wake-up call, courtesy of White House fraud team." And he's got JD and others here with, very, very interesting little eyes going on, freaking out. And then we got this morning, we get the announcement of a $3.7 billion fraud scheme, one of the biggest Medicare scams in history. This is J.D. Vance, head of the fraud team. Fraudster fled to Turkey in May 25. U.S. officials brought him back to Miami, where he'll face justice for his crimes against the American people. So much for getting away. As Kash Patel says, Ibrahim Khaldoon Hilmi is charged with one of the biggest Medicare scams in history, allegedly orchestrating a massive $3.7 billion scheme to defraud Medicare. He's been on the run since May 25. We got him. Thanks to outstanding work. This is yet another massive win for FBI's war on fraudsters with the White House task force led by VP Vance. Monumental victory for Trump admin, showing any criminal actor who steals from American taxpayer will be caught no matter where they try to hide. This is a big deal. Remember, guys, everything is about the money. For everybody wondering about the arrests, they're starting. It's just not starting the way you wanted it. I get it. So many people wanted Trump to come in and start announcing, Bill Gates, you're done. Barack Obama, you're done. Hillary Clinton in behind bars. That's what they wanted. That's not how it works. You cut out the network. You guys remember in the movie The Dark Knight when they're going after the mob bosses? By the way, Dark Knight still holds up. One of the great movies ever. What do? They start with the RICO case to take everybody off the streets first. All the thugs, all the low-level guys. And then they go get the mob bosses. That was the whole setup of Harvey Dent, his scheme to beat the mob. Well, this is what we're watching right here. Take out the guys, and this is a bigger player, so it is starting to build up. But that's not that's not all. Today, Todd Blanche announced, along with RFK, announced a massive swath of arrests.
We are announcing federal and state charges, all of which were charged or unsealed at some point over the past 2 weeks, the past 14 days. Coordinated nationwide action. Since June 8th, we've charged 455 defendants across 56, like I said a minute ago, U.S. attorney's offices, and 45 U.S. states and territories. As alleged in the various indictments, these individuals participated in healthcare fraud schemes involving over $6.5 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. We are now
cutting out the money takes them out at the legs. You understand that? This is the fraud cleanup. This is what is such a big deal. Very interesting. Also, Trump put Vance in charge of this, just saying. But DOJ unveiled charges against 450 defendants. The water tap's drying up. We're cutting off the money. This is going to make it so that it's impossible for them to keep operating. Here's Dr. Oz with some more details.
I'm going to put my doctor's hat on here. There's two issues that we have not gone into in detail, but they've been mentioned by many. The first is affordability. The $100 billion that Secretary Kennedy mentioned is stolen from Medicare and Medicaid. If we were able to just take that out of what's being stolen from Medicare, would double the life expectancy of the Medicare Trust Fund. It massively changes what people pay when we tolerate this kind of fraud. The second big message, again, is that costs matter. They matter a lot. And they're measured oftentimes in ways that we can put on signs. But the actual cost is that of human health and the lives of humans hurt by these fraudsters, because they don't care about you. If they're willing to steal your money when you're down and out and struggling and you're vulnerable, they will definitely take your health and take your life if that's required. Today's actions are the results of months of painstaking collaboration by law enforcement agencies represented.
Did you hear what he just said? That's important. He said today is the big day of months of work. This is what, I always try to tell the people upset that the arrests haven't come yet. Where's the arrest? It takes months to build it up. Months. And today was the climax, the big conclusion of all that work. This stuff takes time, but you can tell the DOJ, working with HHS, all these other agencies, has been putting together these cases, and the time to strike is beginning. You understand this, how it works.
On this stage, the U.S. Attorney, of course, the White House Anti-Fraud Task Force, the FBI, HHS, OIG, CMS colleagues, all of us worked tirelessly towards one goal, making sure that people who steal from Medicare and Medicaid face real consequences, because it scares away future perpetrators. As Secretary Kennedy mentioned, the general approach has been slow, meandering, and non-consequential for fraudsters, which is why after COVID they rushed into this space. CMS's role in this partnership has fundamentally changed because of the nature of the fraudsters. We now use techniques that historically were never thought of. Instead of just flagging problems, we build cases. Under the leadership of Secretary Kennedy, we've created a stellar team at CMS. Fraud fighters, including Kim Brandt and Janine Ugo and others who...
Did you hear what he said there? Instead of just flagging problems, we build cases. There's your answer for why it takes time. They build the cases. They've been watching these people for months. building the case, gathering the evidence so that when they go after them, it sticks. This is why you don't arrest everybody on day one. All the people out there crashing out because, oh, where's the arrest? I haven't seen anything yet. Well, here you go, folks. This is what happens when it finally comes together. It's happening. And RFK shared this. By the way, this might actually save some of our social programs once we realize how much fraud is in them and they're all cleaned up, and maybe, just maybe, we get close to a balanced budget, and all of a sudden we find out that this rich nation, when our social programs are actually applied legally, justly, with standards applied, that they might actually work, or they might actually be something we can afford. This could be massive. What if Medicare won't go bankrupt? What if Social Security won't go bankrupt? We don't know. But what we're seeing is the fraud is unbelievable.
Ways that Colin and Dr. Oz have been chasing down hospice fraud. We've chugged close now 800 hospices in LA. And one of the ways that we've been able to detect that fraud is that in many of them, the patients never die. They live forever. That's not supposed to happen in hospices. And this particular owner was actually going out and purchasing names from coroners of dead patients and then billing us for those, to make it appear that some of his patients were actually finally dying. And while taxpayers funded these false claims, the owner purchased a Rolls-Royce Phantom. That case illustrates exactly what is at stake. Every fraudulent dollar diverted into a criminal scheme is a dollar unavailable for patient care, for medical innovation, or for services for vulnerable Americans. Ways that
800 plus fraudulent hospices in LA alone. Something like 80% of this fraud is in California that they found so far. 80%! It's a racket over there. This is the kind of crazy stuff that was happening. Charges filed against corporate exec in Arizona in connection to $1 billion fraud involving unnecessary wound grafts. This alleged scheme cost Medicare over $1 million per patient. 11 defendants, over $2 billion in fraudulent claims, and it just keeps going. It's absolutely insane. And this isn't the only arrest happening. Here's Tom Homan talking about the ramp up in arrests of illegals.
ICE has found 146,000 children, just shy of 147,000 children, just shy of that number, of children that were smuggled in this country in the Biden administration and lost. They rescued many of these children that were in sex trafficking and forced labor. ICE has seized enough fentanyl to kill every American 2 times over again. ICE is arresting sexual predators at a record number. We have the most secure border in history of this nation because of President Trump's leadership. This country is safer again because of President Trump's leadership. Look, what President Trump did in Memphis, what he did in Washington, D.C., can happen in Chicago, can happen in New York, if they just join us shoulder to shoulder and take on criminal illegal aliens. There's somebody that want to do that. And she wants to talk about separating families. Why don't she go have a meeting with a couple hundred angel moms that I've met with in the last couple of years who've been separated from their child permanently because they buried them, because their child was murdered by someone that's not even supposed to be here. You want to talk about real family separation? There you go right there. Let's talk about 500,000 children that were separated from their parents and put in the hands of criminal cartels under the Biden administration and smuggled in this country, and they lost track of 300,000 of them. Let's talk about that. They seem to forget the 4 years of travesty that put children and families at risk, but we are out there trying to save them.
Amazing. Arresting sexual predators at a record number. What about the Epstein files? Yeah, those matter. Those are interesting, right? We want big names to go down. 100%. But what matters more? How about the thousands and hundreds of thousands of kids being abused right now by predators? Not the 5, 10, 20 years ago that were done by, we don't even know all the details. The Epstein files are a mess. We only know some stuff. We don't even know if we have enough evidence, but what we do have is perpetrating, or these predators perpetrating these crimes in real time right now, being cleaned up by the Trump administration at the highest levels ever. 140,000 kids saved so far from the 400,000 that Biden lost. That's amazing. This needs to be celebrated. This is justice, folks. These arrests are starting, and it's starting to build, and it will work itself up as every time they catch these people, they have more and more access to information. That information eventually works its way up the chain, and you get more evidence. And I think we're going to see some real names here soon, guys. I mean, DOJ, according to James Comer, who's House Oversight Chairman, says the DOJ allegedly has more than enough evidence to pursue Anthony Fauci now, as of yesterday. That, my friends, will be one of the big names to go down. Thank you, Tulsi Gabbard, and thank you even to Rand Paul, who I don't always like, who's been pursuing this. Fauci's about to be put out there, and guess what, guys? Fauci will be a huge awakening. If that one goes down and it's proven in a way that they have to cover it, that Fauci was covering up COVID, he was covering up the origins, covering up his role in it, how COVID was a conspiracy scam the whole time, how many people is that going to wake up? Because as of right now, Fauci is still a hero to these people, especially on the left. You expose Fauci, you better believe a lot more names will start falling after him. So, are we winning? I would 100% say yes. It's moving quick. The deep state is in a panic thanks to stuff like this. Pulte, the arrests, the fraud drying up, their money drying up, and the big names are coming. So I, for one, am very optimistic about how this summer started off and where we're headed. Trump still has 2.5+ years. There's a lot of time to take out a lot of these bad people. All right, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for your attention to this segment. We got so much more to get to. I'm going to cover the updates on Iran. We got Elon versus Ro Khanna. We got the economic data. So lots more segments coming up. But first, I do want to take a moment, get back into the chat, say hey to everybody who's been tagging me, trying to get my opinions on stuff, or just throw some at me. So let me take a minute to get into the chat before we go on to the next segment. Trump is Batman. That's funny. Al Pugh, thank you for the gifts, for the red card, Unk Alert. Thank you, Don, for the flow state. I'm trying to get into the flow state right now as I cover everything. Lockfeld over on Rumble says Fauci's a murderer. And Pithy says Fauci's cures for COVID and AIDS are poisons. I'm not disagreeing. Not disagreeing even a little bit. We got It's Happening from Barwatch. Somebody said RFK's resigning. I don't think that's true at all, unless there's some announcement that just came out. RFK is devoted to see this thing through in HHS. It's what he wanted forever. So I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see here. New sub, S. Scorber. Thank you very much for watching. If you are watching, you enjoy the show, please hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell. I do this show every weekday, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time, 9 o'clock Pacific. So I can be your morning, your early afternoon watch, your listen to catch up on the news of the day. And we do this every day. We, all from the evidence of hope or the perspective of hope and expectancy that things are getting better. And the Trump administration is doing way more than most people give him credit for. Yeah, they've had that rumor about RFK going back to last year. It's not happening. It's not happening. He is all in. He's all in. He's not a quitter like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They want him to be, but he's not. He's not. Yeah. Don't listen to the rumors. Trust the people. This is the first time and maybe only time I'll say this for my entire life, but for once we can trust the people in charge, which is the Trump administration. So, haven't heard from Eminem. I mean, I don't care, but you're right. There's a lot of these people have been a lot quieter this time. I think they're scared. So, let's see. Anything else? Peter says Epstein's small fries compared to the UK 250,000. Rupert Lowe. Oh yeah, we covered that last week. That is horrific. And by the way, isn't it interesting that Starmer already already stepped down just a few days after that came out. Pretty crazy. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate you. Gnostics and Flow State. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. I replaced AJ. Oh, Alex Jones. Oh, he'd be so angry to hear about that. Why don't you watch me? I'm trying to kill the globalists. Don't you know that Trump is controlled by Israel? Oh, my God. I can't believe anybody would watch me. What's happening? That's not okay. MTG smoking the inside one time. RFK has more power than Trump to directly change the game. I don't think I agree with that, except for in the health industry. That's the only place I would agree with you on. Yeah. Hannah says, I worked in ICU during COVID. Fauci killed so many innocent people. I agree. It's terrible. Horrible, horrible man. If you read RFK's book on Fauci, you realize what an evil man Fauci is. And going back to the 80s, he was behind the AIDS epidemic. He was behind the tobacco companies taking over our food companies. He was behind Big Pharma becoming what it is. He's responsible for millions of deaths. And him getting appointed by Reagan is one of the great detriments to Reagan's legacy. One of the great knocks on Reagan's legacy. And unfortunately, it's the kind of thing we're seeing now 20, 30, 40 years later that that Reagan made some serious mistakes. DJ says, what happened to Alex Jones? I learned a lot of conspiracy theories from him. I'll give you my quick opinion on Alex. I believe Alex's father, I believe, and this is Alex's own words, had CIA ties. I believe that Alex Jones has always been a controlled asset. I believe that his conspiracies he's told us have always been allowed to. They're the kind of things that they allow you to learn, so that it kind of feeds the beast a little bit. But then and builds trust, and then he can deflect where necessary. And I believe in the last few years, it's all been catching up to him, and he's getting more and more crazier as a result because he's losing his hold. And so he's turned against Trump, which is the biggest tell ever, because Trump's the one time in Alex's 30-year career that we have a chance of beating this deep state. And now he's turned on Trump. It's insane. So, I think Alex has always been controlled opposition. So, unfortunately, because I used to like Alex too. I used to like Alex too. I was duped, folks. But you know what? Sometimes being on the wrong side of things and then you wake up, it makes you more passionate that way because you recognize where you came from. And, so. But yeah, Alex, I can't tell you how many times Alex has been wrong, which is funny. It's one of the big psyops that Alex Jones is always right, but he's always wrong. Think of how many times he's predicted doom and gloom, and it just doesn't happen. So, I don't think, I think many things about Alex has always been a lie. I don't think Trump ever gave Jones inside scoops. I think Alex lied about that. I do. So anyways, we got to get to Iran. Not a whole lot of updates, but we do need to talk about it because it's very important what's going on with this. And then obviously we still got a lot more going on too. Midterm stuff, Elon versus Roe. We got a grifter report today. Tucker Carlson. I got something really interesting on Tucker today. Really interesting. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. But let's get into Iran. We need to talk about Iran. So the last few days, everybody is lying about Iran. Everybody in the mainstream media, the neocons are crashing out. The liberals are crashing out. The deep staters are crashing out. They're all freaking out over what Trump's done with this deal. They all either wanted us to bomb forever, neocons, or get stuck, liberals, or never have gone in the first place, deep staters. They're all hitting it from different angles, even though they're all basically controlled by the same people. And the fact that who's against it kind of tells you whether or not it's a good thing. And ultimately, it is a good thing where we're headed. And this is one of those times when the psyops are so thick coming from so many angles that you really only can trust Trump. In my opinion, the Trump administration is the only people we can trust. And that does not mean that every word coming out from Trump, Vance, any of them is 100% true at this point, because they have to communicate what is best for where we're headed, regardless if that's 100% true or not. But the narrative is what's most important. The narrative is what's most important from the Trump administration. And here's the latest from Trump. Despite their protestations and false statements to the contrary, coupled with the drumbeat of fake news, doing everything possible to make the U.S. victory as small as insignificant as possible, Iran has fully and completely agreed to highest level nuclear inspections long into the future. Infinity! Funny Trump would post that right after Toy Story 5 came out, right? This will ensure nuclear honesty. If they did not agree to this, there'd be no further negotiations. Based on this and other major concessions being made by Iran, I've agreed to allow the Hormuz Strait to remain open with no further naval blockade. However, all ships remaining in place should it be necessary to reinstitute the blockade, which seems at this point highly unlikely. The money or sanctions U.S. Treasury is releasing goes into escrow, controlled by the USA. Isn't that interesting? The money and sanctions the Treasury releases goes into escrow. That's not being reported, is it? It will be used for purchase of food and medical supplies exclusively from the U.S., including corn, wheat, soybeans from our farmers. These are things desperately needed by Iran, this humanitarian crisis. I feel it's necessary to help now before it's too late. Talks are going well. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow, there's a lot here. Did Trump just tell us that the economy in Iran got so wrecked by all of this that the people are now starving? And is this one of the reasons Trump is so quick to let this deal happen in this way? Because they are that decimated? They are that the infrastructure of the country is that far gone? You know, it's estimated that their GDP has dropped 40 to 50% just because of this. That's half just cut out. That's extreme poverty overnight. It's estimated that $2 trillion of their military infrastructure is gone. We completely, ultimately destroyed them in this war. I don't think and there's any argument to be made on that for anybody who spends 10 minutes researching what happened. But no, that's not the narrative they want to paint you. They want to tell you that Iran won and is continuing to win. But maybe, just maybe, the Trump team's right. Think about that for a second. I constantly get people arguing with me. Oh, this could never happen. Iran's always going to be evil and tricksy. And guess what? I mostly agree with that, as long as it's the previous people in charge. But even Trump's out there saying we have regime change. Now, here's what gives me peace. Because I don't know. I don't trust Iran. But what gives me peace is knowing Trump's already bombed them 3 times in the last year, which tells me he has no problem going back and doing it again if needed. So that, my friends, is all I need to know as far as the fact that I believe and trust that this administration will see this through. And right now, oil is about to crash under $73, which means 60s are not far off, which means our gas will be in the $2 range within the next month and a half. That's massive. So if the Trump administration really is pulling all this off, and anybody who thinks that this deal, that Trump is just going to hand them money, is, wait for it, retarded. The Trump administration has been very clear and very tough with these nations over and over and over again. But that's the narrative they're trying to spin right now. The narrative is that Trump's just going to hand them money, that he was so far behind. We were losing so bad that Trump panicked and now he's just going to pay them off to be quiet. No, that's just not going to happen. That's absolutely retarded. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep using the word because right now it's the appropriate word. Thank you, Trump, for bringing back non-PC culture. We needed it because sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because the critics of this deal, there's a couple. There are ones that are legitimate. The legitimate criticism is, how do we trust them? I agree with that, but I don't worry about it because we could just blow them out again. We've done it once, we'll do it again. We've done it 3 times, actually. We'll do it again. So I don't worry about that part. But that is legitimate criticism. The other legitimate criticism is, are we giving them too much? Are we being too nice to them? Fine, maybe. But the illegitimate criticism is that we're just handing them money. The illegitimate criticism is that we didn't win this war. The illegitimate criticism is that we're capitulating to them. Honestly, all those criticisms are, wait for it, retarded. There's no evidence to support that whatsoever. Whether you've seen the entirety of Trump, how he's ran things as president going back to term 1 till now, or you just look at the plain facts. The plain facts are not on your side if that is your illegitimate criticism. And the Trump team, again, is the only ones we can trust in this, because how many times now, if you're believing the mainstream media, if you're still trusting these people, I got to ask you, how many times have they been wrong? Aren't you tired of believing the people who are wrong all the time? The whole Trump is always right meme is right. It's more accurate than most people want to admit, because it's accurate very frequently, almost all the time. And honestly, the times when it isn't right, it's almost like there's a good reason for it. So I got to ask you, who do you want to trust? Just because you don't want to believe it happened, just because you might not have liked what we did, doesn't mean it wasn't effective, and doesn't mean it's going to end wrong. That might just be your doomerness coming through. And by the way, the American people are very happy with it right now. The recent poll, 80% of Republicans either consider the deal better for U.S. or good for U.S. and Iran. This deal is popular even among people who watch Fox News and talk radio. Oh, yeah, which is interesting because that's where the neocons live. The Mark Levins. That's where they live and speak and breathe. But regardless, the vast majority of the base, 80%, believe it's either good for the U.S. or good for the U.S. and Iran, which means they're fine with it. That matters, folks. That's how you keep the base happy, which is what matters heading into the midterms. Don't forget it. Now, so much more is happening because of what Trump's pulling off in Iran, including the latest from Benjamin Netanyahu today. Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel must reduce its military dependence on the U.S. and expand its domestic weapons production capabilities to sustain its ongoing conflict with Iran as proxies. Interesting. Pull away from the U.S. more, which I think most of us would like. By the way, for all the Israel people who get mad at me every time I'm critical of Israel, I got to tell you, this is coming from Netanyahu, not from U.S. Reduce its military dependence on the U.S. But here's what's also interesting. To sustain its ongoing conflict with Iran as proxies. Is it possible that the Trump administration is setting things up so that we don't have to go into the Middle East anymore? But we're also giving Israel a green light to say, okay, fine, you guys deal with it. We just don't want to be a part of this anymore. You guys do what you want to do. But again, it's more proof that Trump is not connected to Israel the way many people say he is. It's very interesting. And we'll have to see how this goes off. This has been frequent from Netanyahu lately to start getting off of our aid. And regardless how this ends up, I contend that what Trump's trying to do by defeating this City of London reach and its control of Iran as a proxy, its control of shipping, its control of oil manipulation, its control of being able to destabilize the Middle East through the IRGC and Muslim Brotherhood and its other proxies of City of London, that by pulling that back, Trump will bring peace to the Middle East and Israel. But again, we can't control these countries. If Israel wants to keep fighting, then they can keep fighting. But Netanyahu is saying, we're going to do it on our own dime. Okay, then. We'll have to watch and see how this goes. But regardless, the Iran war is accomplishing getting Israel a little more independent, which I think is a good thing overall. Newt Gingrich, who is always the insight into what the establishment Republicans are, or at least where they might be headed. See, Newt is establishment through and through. But Newt's also very smart, whereas many of the other ones are stupid. And Newt is sounding the alarm here. He's sounding the alarm to establishment Republicans, rhinos, get in line, because Trump is winning. If you don't get in line, you're going to be in trouble. Newt is smart enough to see the future on this one. And I covered this before, and it's time to get into it again, because Newt had a big post he posted this morning at 5 a.m. saying, Americans support Trump's efforts to make peace while containing Iranian dictatorship and blocking it from nuclear weapons. J.D. Vance's report from Switzerland on progress has been well received by most Americans. A series of polls indicate strong support for Trump's position. Napolitan report 58% think the agreement's good for U.S. and only 20% bad. Quantum report 56% approval with 13% disapproval. Fabrizio has had a series of important reports. By 67-26, they report Americans favor the agreement. What's he trying to tell them right now? All you guys criticizing this deal, Ted Cruz, you guys are going to get crushed. If you guys want any chance of holding power in the next election, you better shut up, because Trump in the primaries will annihilate you. This is a warning sound. He's speaking to his own people. Wake up. The people like this, even if you don't. According to Fabrizio, 51% believe the deal will help the economy, while only 12% think it will be worse. On inflation and affordability, numbers are not as strong as Fabrizio reports. 43% think it will get better, 16% think it worse. On gasoline prices, people are optimistic. 67% thinking they'll get better, only 9% think they'll get worse. After a long stretch of attacks from the right and the left, from the so-called foreign policy experts and liberal media, American people have concluded that progress is being made and things will get better. As always, Trump, the man of the people, making the people, the right people very angry and the American people very happy. President Trump showed great endurance in going through the kabuki theater of dealing with opponent religiously motivated, has been bitterly anti-American for 47 years, finds it hard to even talk to us. Persistence of J.D. Vance and Witkoff and Kushner and long trips filled with frustration paid off. No one should be in doubt. That is a big word coming from Newt Gingrich. If you don't remember why, Newt Gingrich is only one of the most important people in the Republican Party, in politics in general. Newt Gingrich pulled off the miracle of the 1994 House elections, where we took back the House after 40 years of Democrat control. Gingrich, it was his plan that did that. Again, he's a genius. Doesn't mean I always agree with him, but he's very important. And when it comes to politics, he's a genius. This is the beginning of a long road of managing a challenging, often hostile, and very often deceitful country, which had almost 5 decades of trying to hurt America and ultimately destroy it. It's possible Trump's combination of military, economic, financial, and diplomatic efforts have led to a profound change in how the Iranian dictatorship has to think about the world. Did you read that? This is very interesting. Possible Trump's combination of military, economic, financial, and diplomatic efforts led to a profound change in how they have to think about the world. I think Newt knows something. I think he's trying to tell us what's happening. In Churchill's phrase, it's not the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. Now we have to design a management system, monitors, investigates, sanctions when necessary, and ensures compliance with the Iranian dictatorship as long as it's in power. By the way, this is exactly what's happening. We are going to track every dollar that goes to them and watch where it goes. And I will probably reveal a lot if they try to play games. He says, this is an enormous step. It's the beginning, not the end. And I agree with that. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of a new way of engaging in the Middle East. It's a new world. The deep state is going bye-bye. Trump is dealing with it here domestically because he's also throttled it in foreign policy. He has cut the tentacles of the City of London in so many ways. Europe is collapsing right now. The EU, the globalist system, Davos, they are dying right before our very eyes. Trump is working on pulling out of NATO. He's already cutting back. He's pulling out of their bases. He's brought peace to the South, ending communist dictatorship in Venezuela. All the U.S. aid money has dropped up. So now all the people coming in to the South America, Central America are right-wingers. He's retaking it over, defeating the communists, defeating the socialists. He cut off the Middle East. He's bringing peace to the Middle East. They have nothing. Their money is drying up like crazy. All their avenues of getting out of these issues is disappearing. All they have left is war. They need one badly. And it's why they are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure Ukraine and Russia continues. But I don't think it will. Now, the latest, people have been wondering where Rubio is. Well, again, here's one of the effects of what Trump just pulled off, and it's a big one. Cuba. Rubio's been dealing with Cuba. While Trump has Vance finishing up Iran and dealing with this fraud task force, Rubio's been behind the scenes. We haven't seen him as much lately. Well, it's because he's been building up the end of the Cuban regime. As Trump said, we'll hit Cuba on the way back. Here's Rubio posting this morning. Situation in Cuba is devolving as the island's corrupt, brutal, and anti-American communist regime continues to prioritize its own total control over the freedom, opportunity, and basic well-being of the Cuban people. The Cuban military-controlled conglomerate GESA has persistently served as a main vector for regime elites to steal the island's few resources, diverting them for repression, anti-American subversion, spying instead of schools, power plants, and necessities for the Cuban people. Today, I designated additional GESA network entities associated with moving both its money and physical assets, as well as entities responsible for exploiting Cuba's mineral and metal reserves for ill-gotten profit. Anyone providing services to these sanctioned actors is at risk of being sanctioned themselves. You know where they were getting a lot of their money? Spain. You know where Spain was getting that money? The EU. Another globalist asset being taken off. And it's economically. All wars are economic, folks. And that's what's happening right now. Trump is winning the war by freezing out their assets over and over and over again. It's working. When Iran, after blowing them to hell, what do? Froze their assets. Blocked off their money supply. This is how Trump's winning with very, very few casualties. Anyone providing services to these sanctioned actors risk of being sanctioned themselves. Foreign banks and other companies that provide services should freeze those activities immediately. That is a shot to the City of London. That is a direct shot. See, Cuba's next. They are now, this is the tell. The focus now, this is the actions that are now being taken. And do not be surprised if in the next few weeks we get major action on Cuba. And I'm telling you, like Venezuela, it's going to be like that. This is the new world order we're entering in. Trump is bringing sovereignty back while ending communism in the entire Western Hemisphere and ending the globalist, Davos, City of London, cabal, deep state plan, ending it completely by letting them fall apart on their own by just taking away their assets and saying, let's see if you can stand on your own 2 feet. As he's doing this, it's all collapsing. And we are winning like crazy. And if you want to understand why they're so mad, that is why. Because their system is collapsing and they know it and they're terrified. So we're winning and we just got to keep listening to the men in charge because they're telling us what's actually happening. And again, the leader of the rhinos, the leader of the establishment from behind the scenes is telling them, fall in line. And that, my friends, tells us we're winning big. All right, hit that like, hit that subscribe, guys. Thank you so much. Got way more to go. So it's coming. So don't go anywhere. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We have Elon next versus Ro Khanna, which is massive. We got big stuff coming on for them. I'm very excited for it. But I see the trolls are in the chat. That means I'm on the right track. I love when the trolls are in the chat. Just made them go bye-bye. But that's always a great sign. Peter is my first name, says, I wish Newt Gingrich was on the London is a problem train, or has he even missed it? I don't think he is. I think Newt knows. Again, Newt is part of the establishment. And do I think Newt might actually love America? I do, actually. But I also think Newt likes the game. And what I think Newt is seeing is that where the game's headed. Newt's an opportunist. He's seeing that Trump's winning. And so he's not going to come outright and say City of London or anything like that. But this is the clear report from him. Clear sounding the alarm. Get on the Trump train. It's winning. And so is Newt falling in line? I think he is, actually. It's kind of like Lindsey Graham. We can't stand Lindsey Graham. But does Lindsey Graham fall in line? 100% he does. And that's why Trump supports him. So it's important to know. Let's see here. Did I miss anybody else? Guys, again, the chat is going crazy, and that's awesome. We have almost 1,600 people watching on YouTube, so super excited for that. But it does mean it's almost impossible for me to see your comments unless I just happen to come across them. Also, YouTube hides the comments after a while because so many pour in. So just remember, again, if you have something really, really important that you want to get to me, question or comment, you can support the channel with a super chat, and I can guarantee it gets read. DJ says, I think there's more Epstein files. They'll be released close to midterms. It'll cause a global economic collapse. That's why tariffs were implemented. I don't agree with the economic collapse part. I agree there's more files. I just don't think they're the ones we think they are. I think they're hidden, sealed off by judges. And when they are, that's what needs to be released. Let's see here. Thank you, Dagu, for the gold coin. I appreciate that. All right, I think I'm caught up for now. All right, guys. Again, if I missed you, I'm sorry. The chat is going so fast; it could have gotten lost. I can only go back so far. So yeah, I apologize. Please like and subscribe. If you guys do like the channel real quick and you want more, you can join. You can always get in the description below. Click the Patreon link. You get a free month. So there's no risk to you whatsoever. 1 free month in the Patreon gets you 24/7 access to the Discord. And you get you get all the members' lives. I do members' lives, a couple of members' podcasts in the past. So there's lots of members only stuff that's there, including a deep dive on Q. I did a deep dive on Israel, done all kinds of deep dives on the members' lives. So you might want to look into those and check it out. And you can do so in the description by clicking the Patreon link and get your free month. And then if you want to stick it out after that, then you can decide which tier you'd like to join and support the channel. So thank you, Laura Paulson. I appreciate that. Kevin with a $20 super chat says important. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you, man. It is important. I definitely, I'm paying attention to yours. You've been awesome. Anything else before I move on to the next part? You're welcome, Peter. Okay, well, let's get on. Okay, next, guys. Have you guys been paying attention to this whole Elon versus Roe thing? It's very interesting, and I think it's important for what's going on right now. Now, if you guys tuned into the first segment, you saw that Elon posted that very interesting video with the Q stuff on the day before the election, which had the activation Ronald McDonald, right? So we know that Elon, I think, has long been closer to Trump than has been led on. And just like the kayfabe thing last year where they fought, and now they're all better, all buddy-buddy. So now I think Elon is outing Ro Khanna, and this is important. So that's what we're going to get into right now, because this is fascinating what's happening on X the last couple days. So yesterday, Elon and Ro Khanna got into it. For those who don't know, everybody knows who Elon Musk is. For those who don't know who Ro Khanna is, he's one of the up-and-coming stars on the progressive left. He's a hardcore Democratic socialist. He is supporting all the worst people, Graham Plattner, etc. He's proposed a wealth tax in California, and he has ambitions for the presidency. And this guy, I'll admit, he's dangerous. He's a loon, but he's dangerous. He's wealthy. And he talks the talk. He's a great liar. And I do believe that what's happening right now is Elon has targeted him, and you guys can ask why. Is this in cahoots with Republicans or something? I don't know. But regardless, is that Elon is now completely exposing Ro Khanna, and I believe this is going to be very bad for Ro going forward. Listen to this. So Elon Musk has now come out and said he's suing Ro Khanna after Khanna said Elon needs to answer for 4.5 million kids dying because of Doge cuts. That is one of the most ridiculous numbers you'll ever see, because there's just no truth to that whatsoever. But these are the lies they're going to do. They're like, hey, you don't believe our small lies? We'll just go bigger. That's what they do. Elon says time to sue him. Reality is that money is being sent to corrupt politicians under the guise of aid. Liars and stock insider traders like Roe the Robber should be in prison. Roe the Robber. I love that. Standard applied by Doge is very simple and easy. Provide contact info for the recipients of aid so we can confirm it's not fraudulent. And here they are. But it didn't end there. Elon's doubling down. See, as Alex reports here, the real reason they're mad at Elon and Doge for shutting down USAID is this. Justice.gov. USAID official and 3 corporate execs plead guilty to decade-long bribery scheme involving over $550 million in contracts. 2 companies admit criminal liability for bribery scheme and securities fraud. Former contractor of USAID-funded program extradited to U.S., convicted and sentenced for conspiracy to obtain grant money through fraud. Former USAID employee pleads guilty to CARES Act fraud. Director on USAID project arrested for 9-year fraud scheme, all within the last year. Ooh. Correct, says Elon. Lots and lots of criminality tied to USAID, which USAID was the piggy bank for the deep state in America, the Democrat Party, the CIA, running ops on foreign soil. It was all there. Payoffs, bribes, USAID. How do we know this? Well, A, the proof is here. B, ever since USAID dried up, the DNC's broke. Elections in foreign countries, especially in the Western Hemisphere, have all the leftists have started losing. Interesting. We can already see the effects of all that money drying up. Oh, and also, it's always the worst people defending it, crying out for it. Yeah, that kind of tells you all you need to know, in my opinion. USAID, Elon says, killed millions. Well, Senator Rand Paul wrote, U.S. taxpayer money funneled through USAID and NIH funded gain-of-function research. Oh, so USAID caused COVID? Research likely caused COVID pandemic, killed millions and cost trillions. Fauci personally signed off on them, then lied to Congress. USAID money killed millions. Yeah, Elon, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And so this is not just calling out Ro Khanna. This is also exposing USAID. Remember, Elon is the richest man in the world 2 times over now, thanks to SpaceX IPO. He also has 240 million followers. So every time Elon sets his sights on something, the world pays attention. The world gets awakened. Now, this isn't coincidence. There's no way this is coincidence. When the fraud task force is upping their arrest today, we're getting massive exposure all over the place right as we speak. The midterms election are coming up and we're finding out how crazy some of these Democrat candidates are. And he's in a spat with one of the crazies who is gaining popularity while also exposing USAID. No, I don't think any of this is coincidence. They say, Mike Solana writes, the Doge guys did not kill millions, and if you participate in popularizing this disgusting, dehumanizing lie, you're going to hell. Elon says, absolutely. This is a total lie. All Doge did was require contact with aid recipients to confirm funds were being used legitimately. Anything less than this is insane. Multiple people from USAID have been charged by the Justice Department with stealing money. Moreover, they pled guilty. And he posts the receipts. Plead guilty. There it is. Justice Department. Justice.gov. So we know this is a fact. Elon's 100% right. But Ro Khanna, he's just doubling down. So now he goes after him. Roe the Robber, says Elon to his 240 million followers. Katie Miller wrote, Roe's the #1 stock trader in Congress. This guy is a total fraud, socialist. Take all their money. Meanwhile, he's worth 200 million. Last year, he reported 4,300 trades with 59 million in trade volume. That's crazy. He purchased a $9.5 million home in D.C. What a total fraud. Elon continues. The robber Khanna. Elon Musk calls out Ro Khanna as his household wealth reportedly grew from roughly 26 to 46 million to an estimated 232.7 million. 630 million total trade volume across 38,666 trades. There's a nice number for you. Since entering Congress, most prolific Democratic trader in House history, even more than Nancy Pelosi. Wow, that's saying a lot. He beat drunk Pelosi. 2022 investigation found 15% overlap between legislative work and family stock holdings. Ro Khanna's AI-focused trades returned 112.1% excess over S&P 500 from January 24 to April 26, far beating Nancy Pelosi's 38.5% outperformance. Wonder why? You know that Ro Khanna's district is the Silicon Valley district, the number one? You think he's got inside information? I would say so. 143% return on NVIDIA shares bought via wife's trust in February 24, right before the CHIPS Act helped double the stock. Nice timing there, Ro. Well done. Ro the Robber Khanna seems to be the most active insider trader in Congress. Man, I think this guy is going to go down soon, and we'll be very excited to see that. This guy is nuts. Oh, yeah, but he's the man of the people. Tax the billionaires. Meanwhile, he is just, he's a quarter of the way there himself. Soon he'll be taxed to trillionaires once he passes $1 billion with all these trades he's making. Elon, though, calls him out here. Oh, look at this. Khan out here screaming. Now he's freaking out, trying to backtrack after Elon threatened to sue him. Debate me instead of threatening lawfare. Okay, Ro. By the way, I'm just going to play this for 1 second. So in case you've never seen Ro Khanna talk, you want to see the douchiest of douchebags? This guy is awful. Listen to this voice.
Today, Elon Musk threatened to sue me, and he called on the Justice Department to put me in prison. That's right. The world's richest person has spent all...
I cannot stand this man. This is one of the main people I want to see go down and go down hard. So with all this going on, Elon posts, he's a Soros puppet. What? Elon Musk just told his 240 million followers that Ro Khanna is a Soros puppet. You think Elon knows? Guess who sees every message on X, has access to all of them? Every private message on X. I think Elon knows something. It was Soros who funded the bogus study in the Lancet, told his minions to parrot it nonstop. Wow. He's going for it. Bad Elmray writes, Ro Khanna's father-in-law, Monte Ahuja, made his fortune by acquiring competitors, liquidating their assets, closing facilities, and firing workers. But I thought you were the great democratic socialist. Instead, your father was a venture capitalist, just buying up businesses and shutting them down. That's pretty awful. A month before Christmas, Ahuja shut down Pittsburgh facility and fired 136 workers. For every displaced American family thrown onto unemployment, Ro's family got richer. Ro enjoys the wealth of his robber baron father-in-law and wife, so he won't go after them. Transtar Industries closed McKees Rock's facility. Man, Ro, you're not the great man you bring yourself to be. Not for the people, are you? Well, my hope is that this guy gets absolutely destroyed. Now, he won't get voted out. He's a Democrat in a California safe district. So we're not getting rid of him anytime soon. Unless crime is attached to him, unless he's attacked for fraud by the Justice Department. This is the kind of things we can hope for. I'm telling you, if there's smoke, there's fire, and there's going to be a lot more here. So why is Elon bringing him to the front? Well, for one thing, Ro Khanna is trying to run for president, and he's positioning himself. He's one of the voices of the new Democratic Party, the far left party that they've become. He's one of their main voices, one of their stars. So you take him down, you also hurt the whole party. That is the big game here. That's what's really going on, because Republicans smell blood in the water thanks to these other crazies they're running, including Graham Plattner, who, as he's being exposed, has now fallen. For the first time since March, Collins is now projected to win Maine Senate seat. That's amazing, by 57%. Collins is gaining steam, and this is a big deal because Plattner is one of their new stars. Even though they're scared of him, even though he's got a bad juju behind him, he does inspire a lot of passion from their base, so they really want Plattner to win. Also, I'm not a fan of Susan Collins, but as I often say, a rhino is still better than a Democrat. And if they can't beat Maine, they don't win the Senate. They have no chance at the Senate. Even if they won Maine, they still have a very low chance of the Senate. But without Maine, it's impossible because it shows you that the blue wave's not coming. And this is a big deal. Again, blood in the water. The Republicans are starting to gain traction. Without Maine, Democrats essentially have no viable path to the Senate. If things stay the way they are, upper chamber will not, no doubt, be in GOP hands for another 2 years. And it keeps getting worse. Look at this stuff. Texas Democrat Bobby Polito brought a registered sex offender with him to perform in front of children at Texas middle school. Polito's friend had finished a 4-year prison sentence for indecent sexual contact with an 8-year-old. You know, they used to get away with this stuff. They can't do it anymore. It's bad. And you got to see how bad it is that even Axios is reporting it. Left Wing magazine. Bobby Polito, headline school benefit, registered sex offender. This get out there, guys. This is the kind of stuff killing them. Their candidates are terrible. It's coming out on Ruben Gallego, who's now being outed for campaign finance fraud as he uses campaign finance funds to go to Disneyland and the Super Bowl with his family. And now he claims he's everyone else with kids. This guy is also very closely attached to Eric Swalwell, who was just taken out in the California gubernatorial race for being a sex abuser. Crazy guy. Gross, man. All kinds of gross stuff coming out. Gallego, also future star of the Democrats. This is not good for them. As they want you to believe there's going to be a blue wave, but all this just keeps coming out. It gets crazier and crazier. Like Tallarico, this guy is insane. And the more we learn about him, the more it's clear he has no shot in Texas. Can you believe they ran this guy in Texas? This just tells you how deluded they are, that they think somebody like this can win. And which, by the way, is on our side because they're so stinking delusional by thinking somebody like this can win that they're outing themselves and making it much harder on themselves. Listen to this.
Yeah, and that's, I always think of myself as a Christian who hates Christianity,
Yep.
right?
A Christian who hates Christianity. Ask yourself how that works.
Like, I always get drawn back into it.
What a loser. This is the new Democratic Party, guys, and we got to keep outing them, showing people who they really are, and people will reject them. This is why we have a great chance at the midterms, even in a situation and a historical trend where the president tends not to do well. But we can win bigly because these guys are total frauds. And one way or the other, this is getting built up. What Elon's doing is important. It's exposing the guys at the top while the guys at the bottom get worse and worse. And from coming at it from both angles, you can absolutely watch the Democratic Party just fizzle out. Yet again, another reason why I'm very hopeful about the future as the Democratic Party continues to implode on itself, thanks to, in no large part, to the Elon factor, taking over X or Twitter and making it X. And now the information gets out there and they can't hide from it anymore, which is very, very good for all of us. All right, guys, take a second, hit that like and subscribe. I got a lot more to go on the midterms coming up about momentum, thanks to lots of good stuff happening, especially in the economy. So we'll get into that in a minute. But first, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. $5 super chat from Mr. Wizard says, the day before our election, Elon at Video Flash Patriots knew I was on. Also knew he was playing games to get Epstein released for Trump. I think you're right, man. And I did cover that video earlier in the show when I was doing the Q segment. But thank you for your $5. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everybody, for the support today. You guys are amazing. One of the many with the $2 super chat says, Rotro Kana. I like that. Rotro Kana. Scooby-Doo voice. So good. Let's see here. Yeah, a Christian who hates Christianity. Imagine that. How does that even work? That's insane. Tom Tillis, blast Pulte firings at the DNI. A hot, steaming pile of dog shit. Is that what he said? Let's bring that up. Let me see if I can find that. Tillis, Pulte. Oh, I said Poulter. Did he? I want to see that quote. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. Tillis, man, total rhino on his way out. We're not going to miss him. We are not going to miss him. So good. Roger says a trans queer claiming to be a theologian, people take him seriously, or allowing the world to see the definition. You know what it is, man? The left is so far gone. They're just desperate to get any traction at all. And they honestly, and this is crazy, they still don't understand regular people. They don't understand regular people are against this stuff. They think they're normal. Like, that's how deluded they are. That's how absolutely insane it is. It's just crazy. But, you know, the more they get exposed, they're just going to get weaker and weaker. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We, you know, and again, the trends are already all in our direction, and, but it's just going to keep going. I am looking up something real quick. Let's see. Okay. Nothing that came up. Oh my God. I just saw something hilarious. All right, I'm gonna save this for the Grifter Report coming up. All right, we got to talk about the midterms, then we got the Grifter Report. I know you guys can't wait. Doc Knows says, drop the link in Discord. Mike Benz takes out Roe about his children comment. Awesome. Thank you, Doc. I'll probably cover that tomorrow because I want to keep this Roe story going for a while. But thank you for sharing that. Okay, we got lots to talk about. We got to get into the midterms. Because the Democrats are panicking right now. They are absolutely panicking. And there's a lot of good reasons why, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. So, let me take a sip. And let's get ready to do this. Violence and Poetry says, a Christian that hates Christianity, time was, we just called them pagan heretics. That's true. Rose says, what the deep state I ran from some people who lives in, what the deep state I ran from some people who lives in Sweden, Norway, and Finland. Check the Wallenberg family office. See what I'm sorry, I don't completely understand. Oh, what the deep state is ran some people who live in Sweden. Well, here's the deal. And I'll do this very quickly because I could spend a lot of time on it. But when I say deep state, globalist, cabal, City of London, I'm talking about a system. It doesn't mean they're all in London, okay, even though a lot of it originated there. There is a City of London, which is a mile by mile, square mile in the middle of London City that controls a lot of financial stuff, and I've covered that before and done deep dives on that. But they're not all situated there because money now is, transactional, is digital. You can do it from anywhere. But they are mostly in Europe, so they're scattered all around. So could they be in Sweden, Norway, and Finland? 100%. 100%. So don't focus on location when you're thinking of the deep state City of London types. It's not about physical location. Okay, it's about the system, and they show us the system all the time. All right. Hope that helps. Okay, let's get into this. The left is absolutely panicking about the midterms, and they have good reason to be, because the Trump administration has made massive gains in election integrity. They've made massive gains in the redistricting. And now that Iran is over, they're making massive gains back in the affordability issue, and the economy is ramping up. So they're terrified. And the reason they're terrified, you always can look at the judges, because the judges are always the sign that they need something to stop. They got to stop it. So we got this ruling that just came out. Judge Sparkle Suknanen, can you guys guess? That sounds like a right-winger, right? Sparkle Suknanen has struck down Trump administration's expanded Save voter verification system, ruling federal agencies unlawfully create a centralized database containing Social Security and citizenship data to facilitate mass voter verification. How is it unlawful to validate citizenship with Social Security records? You tell me. how that could possibly be unlawful. This is such a crazy activist ruling. But again, they do the crazy stuff when they're desperate. This will be overturned by the Supreme Court or by an appeals court, guaranteed. But regardless, it's a sign. We're very scared about what Trump's pulling off with the election. We have to try to undercut every opportunity. So, speaking of the judges, this is how desperate they've been. Look at this. Number of times the judges blocked a president's policies broken down by president. In the entire United States history, guys, there was about 60-something blocks. Here's the years, 44 years, 64 blocks of presidential with presidential injunctions against executive orders. Here's Trump's record. 75 against him in his first term, 169 in the second term. When people ask me, why is Trump not getting everything done? There's two places to blame: the Senate and the judiciary. They are blocking him at every turn. Thankfully, the Supreme Court overturns most of these. And so the Trump administration moves through. And the Trump administration knows that, which is why they haven't gone rogue on these judges. Because Trump knows if you do it through the legal system, it's much more likely to be accepted by the people, and it's much more likely to last. It's very smart, and he should not turn against these judges in a rogue fashion unless or until the Supreme Court also turns against him, which isn't going to happen. But isn't this wild? But again, this is their panic, and it shows you how effective Trump actually is. Another one happened. The judge scrapped SNAP junk food rules, dealing a blow to Maha. So now this judge says, no, have junk food on your SNAP benefits. We want people to die. We want people addicted to their food. Oh, yeah. And we want to get kickbacks from the food companies that we're subsidizing through the SNAP benefits, like Coca-Cola or Doritos. That is actually happening, believe it or not. But this, my friends, is panic. They're trying to make, first of all, this is for Democratic voters, low-income Democratic voters, the vast majority of them, who will be excited over this. Because they don't care about their health, the vast majority of them. They just want their junk food. So they'll be excited about this. This is all about the election. And it's going to backfire on them, though. And the reason why is the Maha movement is more popular than ever before. Listen to this.
There's a Fox News poll saying what's important for you, for the government to focus on. And food safety is at the top of the list with 89%. Lowering food costs comes in right after that. More access to healthy foods, fewer harmful additives, better label clarity, less vaping and nicotine use, and then less screen time for our children.
Look at that. 89% food safety. Food costs 88%. That's not Maha. But healthy foods, 85%. Harmful additives. See, this is all blowing up in their faces. Why? Because the people are awakening. The people are awakening. And I've contended this, the Maha movement, RFK Jr., what he's accomplishing is massive. And even though we might not see every little thing we want done in this 4 years, because some of it might just be too difficult to do in 4 years, the long-term effects of 4 years of a movement, a push of educating people and showing them the truth, that, my friends, shifts culture like we're seeing right here, wakes people up and starts a trend that lasts much longer than 4 years, which assures that eventually we get all the things we want. Remember, it's not about everything all at once, because that's impossible. We live in a legal system with checks and balances. You can't get everything done all at once. And I get so frustrated at people who don't understand that. What you have to do is start it. You get it started. You wake people up. They like the trend. They carry the trend. Politics is always downstream of culture. Very important. The Maha movement, more popular than ever. You think these people want to go back? You think these people want to vote Democrat thinking that Maha will continue if the Democrats are in charge? No. Some of them are dumb enough to think that. But enough people, even if they don't like Trump, they love Maha. These are outstanding positives.
children, but it's the safety issue that's number one.
So then you go to the food policy regulations, and this is the question about clear food labels. 91% favor that, only 8% oppose that. I don't know who those people are. Banning food additives.
They don't want to know.
Right, they just let them eat.
Yeah.
87% favored that, and only 13% opposed.
I mean, they're even cleaning up M&Ms.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
my goodness. So the Baja movement works.
There are a lot of companies that are doing that too, Brian.
And take a look at all these companies that are embracing the Baja movement. You see Campbell's, Coca-Cola, Conagra.
Quick, you see this? The companies falling in line before the regulations are even pushed. Why do they do that? They do it because it's demanded by the consumers. They're doing this for money. But that tells you the culture is changing, which means we're going to get the long-lasting change. This is a big deal heading into the midterms, believe it or not. People are going to be very pleased with this, especially moms, especially suburban moms. Now, that's a quick reminder of RFK Jr. For all those who think RFK Jr. is on his way out, I'm telling you, this man cares so much about what he's doing. Here's what his wife says about how hard he's working.
Bobby works so much that I have not seen him in a year and a half. He gets up at 6:20 every day, and he hits the ground running. He does not stop. He comes home and he works, and he eats a steak and fermented vegetables, and then he goes back to work. Bobby.
This man's amazing. He's not quitting. He's not going anywhere. They gave up everything. Cheryl Hines, his wife, gave up her entire Hollywood career to do this. RFK Jr., she's banned by Hollywood now. RFK Jr. gave up his whole status with the elites, the deep state, to do this. These are true believers. They're not going back. They're going to keep it going. Again, this is in our favor because RFK is very popular. Now, the election stuff, the fraud. The Trump administration is now threatening to withhold funds to states that resist the election security reforms. Hey, this is what I love about the Trump administration. They will always find the way to get it done. Oh, you won't pass anything? Fine. We'll do it ourselves. We will force you into submission because money, you guys want federal funding? Guess who controls it? Okay, don't play ball. We cut your funding. They can't stand it. It drives them crazy. And many fall in line. Some will fight back. And there'll probably be some judge that rules this is not allowable until the Supreme Court comes back in. But you see, the Trump administration is not slowing down. They're working every angle. And I'm telling you guys, I feel like the midterms we're going to be able to feel secure about. I don't think it's going to be 100% not fraudulent. But with our numbers, and 2024 prove this, with our numbers, that if you knock the fraud down to even 50%, which we're still waiting on the Supreme Court ruling on mail-in ballots, which will be huge. If you cut the fraud even by 50%, we have a very strong shot of winning strongly, even gaining. This is the kind of stuff that terrifies them. And the Trump administration is not stopping. Again, tell me again how Trump's not doing anything. It's the craziest thoughts. And now we're passing stuff that's very popular. The Senate just passed legislation to block Wall Street firms from buying American homes. It's just passed. Remember Trump signed the executive order earlier in the year? Well, now it's law. Because this number, no matter what else is in the bill, which I don't know what's in the bill, I might not be great, or maybe it's mostly great with a couple of bad things in it. Regardless, this is, he cannot veto this. This is law. This will be law now, unless the House blocks it. But I don't think that's going to happen. So Wall Street firms will no longer be able to buy single family homes within whatever the legal jurisprudence is and all this. But that's a huge win. And that happens on Trump's watch. He can tout that for the midterms. Now, the big reason I think the midterms are going to go much stronger for Republicans and MAGA than people are predicting is because of the economy. And listen to what's starting to happen with the economy.
I actually listen when you talk, and I have heard you say you believe the economy is poised to take off. So when will the astronauts buckle in and the rocket launch? And what needs to happen for that to happen?
Well, first of all, we've had 5.5 years now of Donald Trump in the White House, and then about 4.5 of those years, we've had very, very strong growth, big income growth for middle-income Americans. So we've had a strong economy. Two things that have happened that have kind of derailed the Trump economy. Of course, the first was COVID back in when was that, 2020, and then of course we've had this Iran situation. So what I'm trying to say to you is that if this deal sticks that Donald Trump has forged with the Iranians, and I know you've had some problems with it, but if the Iranians stick to the deal and we get that oil flowing again in the Persian Gulf area, then I believe we will see a very strong economy with incomes going up, inflation going down, gas prices could be headed to back below $3.50 a gallon, maybe $3 a gallon. So all we need to do is get the Strait open, because we've got a record high stock market. We've got incredible investment going on in this country. By God, you've got a $2 trillion company now in SpaceX. You got 2 more big IPOs coming. We're dominating the AI. So what's not to like about this picture? We just got to get that oil price.
And it started. It's already going down. Most of America, I just passed my gas station the other day. It's down to $3.35 from a high of $4.25 last month. So down 90 cents in my area. And I know it's everywhere else it's going down too. It's going down fast thanks to what Trump pulled off in Iran. Guess what? That's going to impact inflation and everything else. But despite, even before the oil prices went down, I should say, the numbers just came in for May for manufacturing. Oh, look at this. Trump was right again. Everything they're doing, U.S. manufacturing hits 49-month high as input costs show signs of cooling. What? You mean Trump was right? Manufacturing's coming back to America? Why is this a 49-month high? Well, the last time it was this high was coming right out of COVID, which was an artificial boost. This is massive. It's all happening. And this time, guys, it's not a freak accident because we're just opening up our states' economies. No, this time it's because of policy, and it's going to be a trend. Look at these numbers. These are excellent numbers. Manufacturing PMI, 55.7, expected 54.6, a full point above expectations. Massive. U.S. services were up as well. Not as much, but still beating expectations. This is huge. It's coming, guys, because when manufacturing gears up, it's not long before jobs and wages fire up as well. And prices, we're getting the price change as well. Housing, 55% of U.S. homes selling below their original asking price. People are starting to be able to get into homes easier again. That's interesting. Maybe it's because all the illegals are going bye-bye. I don't know. You tell me. But with oil going down, manufacturing going up, home prices going down, it's all heading towards that economy we wanted. Here's another big one. Fertilizer, way down. 37% plunge in the last month. Whoa. What's that mean? Food prices about to go down, folks. Between oil going down and fertilizer, food's about to get a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. I wouldn't be surprised if across the board we see an almost 10% drop by the end of the year. 5 to 10%. That's massive. Trending in the right direction. It could go even faster, especially once beef starts going down, which is going to take a little longer because they're getting the herds going. It takes about 2 years for beef to go down. So maybe by the end of 27, mid 27, beef will be a lot cheaper. But regardless, we're seeing all things head in the right direction. And a lot of this is happening before the midterms, especially oil. One of the reasons housing's going down, well, rents are going down too because the open borders disaster. Lots more homes available thanks to illegals being gone. Thank you, Donald Trump. So many wins, guys. Now, the win's going to continue long-term as well. Check this out. Trump just reportedly backing a $17.5 billion nuclear push aimed at speeding construction of 10 new reactors across the U.S. Nuclear power, baby. Hey, we already lead the world in oil production. Why not lead it in nuclear as well? Are you guys ready for much, much cheaper energy prices, electric bills? Because this is what this will lead to. substantially lower. You could talk 50 to 60% lower if this keeps spreading. This is all happening, and he's got 2.5 years to get all this running. Massive, massive wins everywhere. And you can tell we're winning because the other side is starting to have some issues. Foreign-funded bots and influencers are down bad. Why? Shock poll reveals Trump's approval rating is surging as voters deliver a surprise verdict on Iran and the economy. Ha! What? I thought we were told the opposite is true. All these podcasters, Podcastistan, the Fagaland, the America First crowd, the Democrats, the media, the Rhino neocons, all of them have told us things are awful. Trump's trashing us. He's ruining the economy. He screwed up Iran. Well, that's not what the people think. We're not believing the narratives anymore, guys. We've woken up. Too much truth is out there. It's too easy to believe or to cut through the narratives now. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So as of right now, Seth Keshel, who is the best on election stuff, this guy nailed 2024, and he's just a genius. His latest is 203 safe Republicans versus 187 safe Democrat, 45 seats up for grabs. The GOP only needs to get 1/3 of them to hold the majority. Do you think we can hold 1/3? I think we can, especially with the shifts we're seeing economically. So as of right now, I think we 90 to 95% hold the Senate, and I think 60% to 65% hold the House, and I'm feeling better about it every day. As more and more information comes out, as Trump approval starts going back up, oil prices keep going down, as the Iran deal turns out to be legitimate versus what everybody's saying, people are going to get happier and happier. And the midterms should be a lock once that all comes into place. And then we have a very rosy future looking ahead. Here's the latest on Trump. Remember Vance and Rubio. We got 2 great picks for 2028. You can choose your side on that one, pick who you like more. Regardless, whoever becomes the nominee, you're voting for, and you know it. Because if you don't, the other side could win. Both of these guys win a landslide. And Trump continues to tell us how pleased he is with both of them, setting them up for a very bright future.
Will be doing the Middle East this week.
I think that they're doing a fantastic job. Our secretary is fantastic. I think he's maybe going to go down as the best ever. And I thought J.D. Vance this morning was fantastic. I watched his news conference, and from Switzerland, he's a very smart guy. Did a great job. You know, when I look at the Democrats, I call them the Democrats. They're dumb. The Democrats. When I watched that, where one of them thought it was World War XI. She said World War XI. She meant World War II. You know about that, right? This is one of their potential leaders, Ilhan Omar, who married her brother to get into the country, by the way, illegally. But when I...
Does Trump seem worried about the future? I don't think so. Guys, I'm telling you, regardless of what happens with the House, okay, and we all have to be honest, there is a chance we lose it just because people are fickle. And there's a lot of people, even on our side, who think Trump hasn't done enough yet, which is insane to me, but people are entitled to their opinions, whether they're completely wrong or not. And so we always have to entertain the fact that we could slightly lose the House. I'm still not worried. It'll make the next 2 years a little more difficult. But regardless, 2028 with a new presidential candidate, a Marco Rubio or a J.D. Vance who's going to appeal to the electorate, with Democrats in power in the House, it'll just remind everybody how sucky they are, so they'll lose probably even bigger if they win the House. But if we win the House and we destroy the Democrats' hopes, because they're hinging everything on this year, they think this is their one chance. They are desperate. If they lose the House and Trump gets a more MAGA group in starting in January, both in the House and the Senate, and gets more stuff passed, and the Save America Act shores up elections, 2 more years of building up the economy, 2028 is going to be a massive landslide. I'm calling it right now. That's how confident I am about it. I'm really not worried because our bench is massive and it's awesome, and they suck. They have nobody, and Trump knows it, and as usual, he knows a lot more than I do. So I trust the man. Not just his words, but his body language. Tells me a lot. So guys, it's all trending in the right direction. We're winning. And as always, as long as we keep our foot on the gas, we can't lose. All right, hit that like and subscribe. Next is the Grifta Report, which I actually have a new addition to. Something I just read. So it's going to be fun. But Grifta Report's next. So do not leave. Hit that like, that subscribe. If you want to join this amazing community, if you want more, go in the chat, or sorry, the description. Click that link to Patreon. Go join, get a free month, try out the Discord, the amazing community in the Discord, and check out the members' lives. And if you like it, you can stay after a month, because that's how confident I am you'll like the membership, that I give you a free month to test it out. So consider supporting the channel and my work. I am completely supported by the users here. So, and no sponsors, nothing like that. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Let me get in the chat, make sure I didn't miss anything before we move on. $5 super chat from Sleepy Trash Man says, what kind of names are these judges on? What's next? Judge Sofa King Todd Ed? I love it. Sofa King Wataded. Oh man, good stuff. Thank you for the $5, friend. Thank you for the friend. Stray Orange says, Vance Rubio's not an either or for me. It's a who's first. I agree with that. Obviously, we know if Vance runs, Rubio's not going to, as he's already said. But the Donald has the greatest, biggest, beautiful brazen brass balls ever, bar none. I love it. Rich Guy says, Rubio and Vance are great. I like Tulsi too. I hope she comes back. Midterms will be a landslide record setting. I hope the midterms are. That would be amazing. I don't necessarily agree that Tulsi would be the greatest president, but I do like her. I hope she's a part of everything going forward for sure. Rubio would be a great president for Cuba or Colombia. Well, there you go. Let's see here. Somebody writes, oh, where was it? I lost it. I'm sorry. Nikki for Freedom says, I swear even the channels I love and usually find solace in are losing it with the Iran deal. Thank you, Ace. You're welcome, Nikki. Thank you. There's a lot of people scared. I agree. I think Iran is it's like a test, it's like your IQ test on Trump. And a lot of people are failing it. Rich Gutowski says, data center generation will subsidize retail electric bills and break the utility monopolies. I have an inner city low income friend paying $500 a month for electric. Holy smokes. That's insane. $500 a month. Wow. I have some interesting stuff on data centers that I've been researching that I'm going to share one of these days when I don't have so many other things to share. Jack Hoxie says, what's God going to do? Enemies, domestic crush. That's what our best days are ahead. Amen. Amen. Completely agree with you. Kevin, $5 super chat says, sure liked her as ODNI. I did too. I love Tulsi. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want her for president. That's all. But regardless, if she's the nominee, I'd vote for her. DJ says, you think liberals are going to melt down as hard in 24 if they lose the midterms? I love meltdown videos. Oh, they'll melt down. See, 24 kind of surprised them, but they also didn't think they were going to win it. They were kind of prepared for a loss, even though they were hoping for a win. This one, they think they are guaranteed to win the midterms. So if they lose this midterms, they are going to crash like crazy because it will completely undo everything they think they know about politics. And so that's honestly one of my main reasons I want to win, because it'll just blow up liberals' heads. They'll be like the guy in the Dave Chappelle skit when he takes off his KKK hat and he's black and the guy's head explodes. That'll be Democrats if we win the midterms. Tia, I'll try to answer your question if I can, Tia. I don't know much about cancer stuff, but Alchemy says Trump canceled DNI's Clayton Senate confirmation today. Yes. Well, he announced that last weekend. I covered it when he announced it. He announced it last weekend. I was pulling Clayton for now to let Pulte stay in because he wants Save America passed by the along with FISA. So it's a huge rug pull, and they're freaking out about it. So beautiful, smart stuff. Yeah, Clayton Bigsby. That's right. Deep State's about to be crushed by the Supreme Court, in my opinion, says Monica. Well, if they take away the mail-in ballots, that'd be massive. Massive. Okay. Are you guys ready? Grifter report time. I don't have a big one today, but it's interesting. And I do need to add to it. So, but we got to talk this whole Tucker Carlson. So the other day, Tucker Carlson announced he's out of the Republican Party. I'm done. I can't stand by these liars anymore, which is hilarious to me because any true Republican like myself, who's been a conservative voting Republican for my entire adult life, we recognize that we're actually getting the very first person to ever actually enact the conservative agenda we hoped for. Trump is the very first true Republican president for the reasons I vote Republican, which means that every Republican who's been stuck with the abysmal hell of George Bush and George Bush Sr. and McCain and Romney as our candidates, which has been hell, should be rejoicing at Trump. And yet Tucker Carlson announces he's out. I've had too much. We're finally done. Well, the funny thing is it's just more proof he's always been an operative, that this is all fake. And as Captain Dreamer writes here, isn't it funny how the end game of these podcast retards always seems to be vote Democrat? It is. It's very funny. Tucker talks about anti-white hate in the country and demographic displacement, and then decides he hates the one man doing something about it, Trump. 100%. Again, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And this is why so many people are waking up, because it's obvious. These people are stupid. Stupid, not stupid. They're charismatic. But they actually thought they could be so obviously hypocritical that they could convince us to never, or to follow them into their insanity. But thankfully, people can see through the noise. As Robert Malone posts, Tucker was actually a registered Democrat, but I thought he was a Republican for 35 years. He was a Democrat from 2006 to 2020. Oh, what? Me, a Democrat? Oh, arrogant Mickey Mouse. He claims now that it's so he could throw a monkey wrench into elections by voting for progressives and skewing the results. How does that make sense as a media person? That is retarded. Sorry, Tucker. In closed primaries, you must be registered with a party to vote in that party's primary. Example, if you're registered Republican, you can't vote in Democrat and vice versa. Problem is he lived in D.C., where he lived and worked for many years as a closed primary. He couldn't have voted for a different party, so his reasoning is flawed on so many levels. Oh, yeah. There you go. Tucker. Oh, busted. But it gets worse for Tucker the more we learn. In fact, somebody brought this up, which was absolutely crazy. Blew my mind. Derek Johnson, thank you for sharing this. Page 512 from the Biden laptop report. Tucker and Hunter Biden, big friends? What? No. Say it's not so. We have this craziness right here. This email from Hunter to Tucker. Tucker Carlson to Hunter Biden. Are you kidding? I am glad you called. What they did was repulsive and immoral, and I hope I wrecked their day. I certainly intend to. F them. Hunter Biden, I'm sorry for even calling you. I know I put you in a difficult position. And upon reflection, as your friend, I should have never done that. I was so upset they went to my house and confronted Finnegan. I've been in Delaware the last 2 months, sleeping in my nephew's bed. It's hard to even get up in the morning. Wah, wah. Regardless, I should have never put you in this position. You have your own family, whom I love, and your own business, and defending me is not something a friend should ask a friend to do. Tell Susie we love her. Tucker, just lost my shit on the editor over there. He claims the London office forced him to do it. He's a pig either way, and I told him so. Whole thing is disgusting and awful. It breaks my heart. You have to go through it. I'm really sorry. If you need anything, Susie and I can do that for you. Really? Tucker and Hunter. Here's the post he's talking about. Many years ago, I sent a reporter to knock on Hunter's door to ask him about something unrelated to his recent troubles, and Tucker called to chew me out loudly for putting his friend on the spot without warning. They were quite close back then, family barbecues together, etc. Wow. The more you learn about Tucker Carlson, best buddies with Hunter Biden. I don't think that's what you want, is it? I don't think so, but we now know. And it's just getting worse for Tucker. At this point, never going back. And I don't think anybody who sees this stuff will, because frankly, we're not that stupid. Laura Loomer calling out Tucker for his rant yesterday, trying to get J.D. Vance to turn against Donald Trump. What's crazy to me is how Tucker hates Trump and then says J.D. Vance is in an impossible situation. I love this breakdown. I don't always love Laura. In fact, there's plenty I disagree with Laura on, but I think this is great. Does Tucker know who J.D. Vance is and the policies he supported when he was in the Senate? Remember, I've been telling you guys that even though Tucker says him and J.D. are close, do I think him and J.D. knew each other? I do. But is there any evidence at all they were close? Zero. And Laura Loomer calls it out really well here. Does Tucker even know who J.D. is and the policies he supported when he was in the Senate? GOP Iran policy has been echoed by J.D. since October 7th. You can see the screenshot below. She means October 7th, 2023. He's been saying the exact same things Trump was saying. Uh-oh, J.D. haters don't know what to do with that. Oh, no, maybe J.D. isn't as bad as we thought. This is always the same view shared by Trump. Why is Tucker such a hater of the current administration? Tucker has a rational hatred of Trump and his foreign policy, which the VP is on the record supporting. That's true. But now all of a sudden, Tucker cozies up to Islam. He can't support the GOP anymore. Tucker knows Vance is running as Republican in 28. So why is he going around telling people to leave the GOP? What? Laura, are you watching my show? Because that's exactly what I said yesterday. If Tucker's really this secret guy behind J.D. Vance that we can't trust, why would he say ditch the GOP when that's J.D. Vance's future? I don't know. I know it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't. Makes zero sense, actually. Don't trust what these people say. Watch what they do. For the record, I agree with this tweet below, and Tucker still claimed he supported the GOP even when Vance tweeted this post October 7th. So what changed? Aside from Tucker selling out to jihadis, of course. Tucker's a complete saboteur, backstabber, and jihadi sympathizer. Yeah, I'd say the evidence is pretty overwhelming. Now, Tom Luongo calls this out excellently. He says, because guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene, imagine that. She's saying exactly what Tucker said. Tucker's not the only one done supporting the Republican Party. There's a lot of us fed up, won't support a party that betrays its voters and country. Marjorie, no one cares what you think. You quit. You had a chance to make a difference. You quit. Loser. We don't want to hear from a quitter, especially not a gorilla-faced quitter who ran off to Costa Rica with her $5 million mansion. We really don't care. That doesn't sound America first to me. But that doesn't mean we're turning into Democrats, but we're done with the America Last Republican Party. Why weren't you done under the Bush years, Marjorie? Why weren't you done then? Interesting. You weren't done when Romney was our candidate? You weren't done when McCain was our candidate? No, it took Donald Trump, the most anti-establishment candidate we've ever had, actually getting stuff done, to be the last straw for you? Fraud. That's what it says to me, fraud. Tom Luongo calls it out perfectly, though. He says they played the long game. Mario at least had the common decency to tell you he hates the U.S. He's talking about Mario Nawfal. Tucker and Marjorie Taylor tried to pass it off as a true face of patriotism. So does every other traitorous piece of intelligence filth like the Seditious Six. These are pathetic excuses for human beings who've always been playing the long con, nothing more, nothing less. Absolutely. And Trump's exposing them all. Now, what's so hilarious, and this just popped up on my feed, is that while this is all going on, Alex is now having Tucker on his show. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't make this stuff up. They just keep, the circle jerk just keeps going on. Just, hey, how about I interview you and you interview me, and we'll just keep going around in circles. The whole 20 of us in this space will just keep jumping on each other's show. I'll do you. I'll do Megan. I'll do Candace. I'll do Nick Fuentes. I'll do who am I missing? Oh, Dave Smith. We'll do that. We'll have Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and then we'll do it all over again. How about a Joe Kent? Yeah, we'll add Joe Kent. That's what we'll do. And we'll just keep being on our own shows because we don't have anybody else. We don't have any other real people on. So we're just going to keep parroting our own narratives to each other. Tucker is on Alex Jones right now. He's joining Alex to discuss Netanyahu's public attempt to take control of the U.S. military and intel agencies. What? What? Are you serious right now? The man from the small nation, smaller than New Jersey, of 9 million people, who Trump just completely put on blast with the Iran deal, completely showed independence from, he's going to take over our intel and military? Oh, okay. Carlson, I'm sorry, I did it in the wrong voice. Carlson set to break other huge news on air as well. I'm sure he's going to break news. It means he's going to tout some huge lies. This is absolute must-watch share information. Join Alex and Tucker now. I don't think so. I think I'll skip that one, Alex. Sorry, not sorry. But again, it's hilarious to me how they all play this game. It's round and round we go. Absolute jokes. Tucker's live with me now. He says, I don't hate Israel. I'm disgusted by what Israel's doing. Israel's gone insane. Deep state, Israel, crazy people. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. But so funny, man. I'm just like, what? These people are, it's unbelievable. And so you better believe we're going to have a fun grifter report tomorrow when I have all the clips from this, because I can believe it's going to get wild. It's going to get wild. Is all these people do is lie, and they change, go back and forth depending on which way the wind's blowing or depending who's writing the bigger checks. And, while we've seen plenty of proof with Tucker, Alex, Megan, one of the fun ones is Cenk Uygur. Yeah, this guy's on the left, but he's been invited on by Dave Smith, Tucker, and treated like a real person. This guy is hardcore Israel hater, way more than Tucker, way more than Alex Jones. But there's a time that's now circling the internet when even Cenk sang a different tune, which tells you maybe these guys are actually all playing on the same team in real life, actually. I don't know. You tell me. Listen to what Cenk was saying just a few years ago.
Who wants Hezbollah to go stronger? No one. They're fundamentalist Muslims. They can't possibly help Lebanon. And if they do harm to our interests as the state of Iran or Syria, we will crush them. And they know it, right? It's that they keep firing the rockets into Israel. You can't keep firing rockets into Israel and go, oh, wow, look at that. They invaded. I never would have suspected that. So, and that's
what?
Iran and Syria encouraging Hezbollah and Hamas to do that because they want to stir up trouble. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip who decided, hey, you know what? Let's launch some rockets from our side onto Israel's side and hope that nothing happens. Well, that was a pretty bad idea. We have a deterrent value here. We tell Iran, Syria, and anybody else in the world, if you mess with us, we're going to bring the wrath of God.
Wow. Pro-Israel Cenk? Who knew? But again, it's all a game, isn't it? It's all a game. These podcasters, the grifter sphere, the Fagaland types, that's on the right and the left. Can you believe it? Well, now we see it. We weren't paying as much attention before. I certainly wasn't watching the Young Turks except to watch election videos of them crying when Trump won. Those are great, by the way. You should watch them. That's all I watched the Young Turks for in the old days. But then Cenk started showing up on Tucker's show and Dave Smith's show and all around. People I actually, leading up to the 24 election, I liked what they were saying. They did pretty good stuff during the Biden years. I'll give Tucker credit for that. I'll give Megyn Kelly credit for that as well. Back in the day, I liked Alex Jones. But now you see it's all the same playbook. Doesn't matter what side they're on. They're going to go where the money's good, where the narrative is. Whatever the deep staters, City of London types have to tell them to parrot, that's where they're going. They're little squawk boxes. They just repeat what they're told. And we have the evidence. It's all over the place now. So as this is happening, as Alex and Tucker circle jerk each other right now, going back and forth, Israel, Israel, Israel. As all this happens, man, just remember, it's all fake. It's all show. these people are told jokes. And thank God their influence is waning, because the people just aren't responding to them anymore. As Alex Brusowitz wrote, foreign-funded bots and influencers are down bad because despite the fact all assets have been deployed, everybody was to turn against Trump since Iran war, doesn't matter. As Trump is starting to see approval rating going back up as oil prices go down and the war is over. We're winning so hard right now that these guys are just going to keep crashing out and talking to each other, trying to figure out why they don't matter. And I'm going to keep laughing at them as they do it. All right, hit that like and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching today. Woo! Was that a live show today or what? I have 2 other segments I didn't even get to that I'm going to hold for another day because they're not time sensitive. Because there was just so much we went through today. But guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you love this show, if you really appreciate what I'm doing here, please consider joining. And by joining, you get a free month. You get to be a part of the Discord. This amazing group here in the chat is 24/7 in the Discord. We all get to know each other. It's a great place to be for news and fun, memes, discussions, all that stuff. It's all in the Discord, in the description below on that Patreon link. Plus, you also get access to all the members' lives, which there is going to be one very soon here. In fact, I'm likely doing a class this afternoon. I just got to check a couple things, but I think I'm going to be doing my second class on eschatology in the members section this afternoon. So stay tuned for that, members. But regardless, let me catch up with you guys in the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. And I don't think I am. Katie Cat sent some sparkles over. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it as always. Let me make sure I'm not tagged on anything. Guys, I want to say this real quick. What a day. Today was my largest live show ever. I broke 1,800 today at the peak. That's amazing. So thank you all who've been watching and supporting. I hope this only continues to grow, but you guys are amazing. And I'm very humbled by the fact that you guys are taking me to new levels. So thank you so much for that. I'm so incredibly blessed to be doing this. Taya asked what time? About 3:30, 4 o'clock Eastern. So pretty quick after this. I just got to get some things in order. And it'll be members only. So in the Patreon or here on YouTube. Let's see. Let me check any other tags, anything. Alex Jones doesn't have the balls to have Ace on the show. He would not like me. I would call him out to his face. Let's see here. Want to make sure I'm not missing anybody who's trying to reach out. Moody says, I should write a skit of Jones interviewing Tucker using their voice to go, oh man, that would be tough. I don't know if I could hold it up the whole time. Alex's voice crushes me. Doing his voice for too long and then going back and forth between those two voices would be really tough. They're completely different. You know, you got Alex is easy. You just pretend you're drunk and your voice is basically gone. That you've been smoking cigars for 52 years while also drinking since you were a baby. That's how you do Alex's voice. Just pretend like you don't even have a voice. That's how you do Alex. But Tucker's a lot harder. Tucker, you got to dig deep. You got to see if you even have it, because you got to get to that Mickey Mouse. You got to do, because we don't know what the Jews are doing. And it's obvious they have Trump taking it over. It's obvious. Because we can all see it, can we? So it's really tough to go back and forth. I don't think I could do it for very long. I just don't think I could. Thank you, Sniped You Head. I appreciate you. You're amazing. Kevin with the $5 super chat says, because we love you, Ace. Thank you, Kevin. Man, you don't have to earn my affection, bro. I'm so grateful to you, man. You're amazing. Asmongold's hilarious. I like watching Asmongold react to stuff. You lose your balls for a minute to do Tucker. That's true. Oh, man. Baby, it's diabolical. I mean, it might be true. Thank you, guys. You guys are so nice. I appreciate you all. DJ asks, will I live stream election night? Oh, man, are you kidding me? Well, of course I'll live stream election night, midterms. Listen, my greatest live show ever, not my biggest, but my greatest one ever, was the election of 2024. I live streamed for 7 hours straight the whole night, and I will be doing so again on the midterms. I will live stream until we have the results, until they call it. that's when I'll get off. Either that or they push it over. But so listen, you guys are amazing. And, I just thank you. Yeah, it'll be fun. Election night will be a party. It'll be a party. Okay. Kevin says, bruh, $2 super chat. Thanks, man. You're awesome. It is a blessing. Thank you, Teresa. All right. Well, guys, I am going to take a break. And then I am going to jump on a members live here. So I'm going to members, I'm going to announce it in the Patreon and here on the posts on YouTube. So keep your eyes open for that announcement on timing. I'm going to go take a break. I'm going to get some lunch. I'm going to rest my voice and we're going to get into it. But love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please hit the like and subscribe on your way out. And then, as always, we got to pray. Because prayer works, man. And the more of us pray, the more it works. So we always pray at the end of the show, unless I forget. And it's just important we all do so together because where 2 or 3 are gathered. Well, here we have 1,000 gathered. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody watching. I thank you so much for them, their support, and just the fact that so many people want to wake up. Father, we bless them. I bless our president, God, with protection, wisdom, and courage to continue facing everything, Lord, with the impossible solutions. And I thank you that they've done so much so far, but they have so much more to go. So bless him and everybody working with him, God, everybody on his side. I pray that you continue to expose everybody against us, everybody who's robbed our country, robbed us, stolen from us, lied to us, etc. You would expose them and hang them out to dry, God, so that justice can be dealt. And Father, I pray for our country, that, Lord, this economy turns and we see more prosperity than ever, more justice than ever, and peace, not only here but abroad, God, in Jesus' name, that we see a better level than we've ever seen before. And God, inspire each one of us to what we can do to make sure that our country is better for our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids going forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Bless you guys. Thank you for everything, and love you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. And I will see you all tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Unless you're a member, which I'll see you fairly soon. God bless you. See you soon.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack.